We are live,
Hey, everybody.
and we're recording. You should move it over.
Yes.
Over there you go. They're getting tight. Hi everyone. Hello, nice people watching. Welcome to our live stream, live from Rory's kitchen.
Yes. No expense spared for this show.
So we were going to do this at the office, but tell the viewers why not.
Our studio is located above a nightclub.
A really good nightclub.
Yes, and a really cool music venue. But it does mean if we work late, we're usually entertained by the sound of thumping music coming up from the floors beneath us. So we decided it probably would not be a good idea to play the game live whilst there's music playing beneath us.
Yes, so that is why we are here. We have tea. It's all good. Things are going to be grand. And you will see behind us that we have
improvised
our Untold Adventure Adventures Await. It says Adventure Awaits on there because that's the old version of the title. So yeah, we've improvised our playboard for our forthcoming adventures with you, our dear viewers. So before we kick off, let's say hello to who's there. So we have Mike Best. Hello, Mike. That's all good.
We've got Dale Miller.
And we also have Virginian John, who has been super busy in the comments, and we love him for it.
Yes, indeed.
So can we just check the folks who are who are watching? Can you hear us properly? Dale says, "Howdy, fellas." I'm hoping that that's a good thing. Yes. Hey, that's a quick response.
Wow, it's like you're hearing it before we were saying it. It's so weird. Okay, Mike can hear us.
So 2 people can hear us. That's what we care about. And other people, maybe, he says. So yeah, we are going to set a couple of ground rules for how this playthrough is going to work. As you can see, like we said, we have the whole thing set up behind us. Rory randomly chose the 5 different scene cards we're going to work through earlier.
We genuinely have no idea what's going to happen in this adventure.
It's all good. The only things we're going to do are, like I said, set a few rules as to how we want this to go. Oh, hello, Phil. So we are going to kind of kick it a bit old school. We're going to go Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, the classic sort of high fantasy RPG world. And
kind of one of the reasons for doing this is because, you know, we've been running a lot of playtesting, and a lot of people are kind of tending towards the kind of crazy, over the top, you know, Saturday morning cartoon adventures, which is amazing. But we kind of want to show you how you can run a kind of bog standard, fantasy adventure. No, like,
way to sell it, mate. Good work.
But yeah, run of the mill. So like a traditional RPG game, and you know, this is partly what I love about playing Untold, is I can have that kind of epic high fantasy adventure that's as serious as I want it to be, and the system is robust enough to be able to handle that.
Good stuff. One day I will eventually run an episode of Untold, which is doing a podcast or working in an office. It's going to happen.
Well, our barista competition was like a test for like how mundane we could make an adventure. That was brilliant.
And then that got really, really weird. But we'll tell you all about that one day. So yeah, go for it. Talk.
Yeah, so I think the other thing, just to kind of obviously clarify, is these are all prototype materials. Even the rules, like we spent a couple of hours today working through the rules, tightening things up again. So they will change slightly, but we'll play with the current version that's available through the print and play for this adventure, just so that you can kind of model what we're doing if you print and play the adventure at home yourself.
Yeah, literally everything we're going to be doing here, you guys will be able to do yourselves. All you will need is the print and play files, which are, of course, on the Kickstarter page, or over on Board Game Geek if you are one of the folks over there. The only thing you'll need to provide is a set of these delightful things. I will work out where the actual camera is. It's there. So yeah, you will need a set of 9 story cubes. This is the base set, the original one that comes in the orange packaging that will also come with every set of Untold as well.
And again, we're using that because even though it'd be very easy to use Mythic and Enchanted and Medieval to tell the D&D adventure, we kind of want to show how even with the core set, you can still tell like a high fantasy adventure. It takes a little bit of kind of creative interpretation of the icons, but that's kind of what we want to show you in this game. I think one other thing is I'm kind of very keen to ensure that this is family friendly, you know, so that we can share it with a wider audience. So we will ask that when we're asking you to interpret die rolls and things like that, to be aware of the audience.
That's it. So one thing we were talking about while doing our rules tightening thing earlier today is essentially asking an extra question when you're setting up the world of the tone that you want to sort of play in. So everybody sort of like sits down at the start, you set up what kind of world you want to work in, and that tone is very, very important. Obviously, if we want to go for this sort of adventure-y, taverns and bards and all that sort of stuff, we don't want then all of a sudden a giant mecha to sort of like fly in with guns blazing and nuclear bombs going off left, right, and center. That would be, in all honesty, a bit weird. So please consider that kind of thing when you're giving your suggestions. And think laterally, think out of the box. Symbols don't have to be super literal. We had a character created earlier when we were working on rules where we used a fish to describe a person as a fishy-looking character, and that's the kind of thing that you can really, really, plug your brain into, and we will have an amazing and awesome adventure.
And that's kind of how I play with the cube. So hopefully you'll see how I always try to kind of twist and find creative ways to interpret the icons that lends to the kind of story we're trying to tell.
Cool. All right.
Jump in.
Dear viewers at home, are you ready? Man, these numbers are going up. I'm actually amazed and very happy that you guys are here joining us, to be honest. It is like 11:35 p.m. on Friday night for us.
So again, I suppose I'm going to treat it like we're kind of all playing. So we're going to be the voices for it. So there will be points where we'll ask you we'll show you what the dice roll is. We'll ask you to suggest interpretations, and we'll pick then what we think, we all agree on is the one that we want to use in the story to see how it unfolds. And likewise with the questions, on a given turn, there might be 3 or 4 questions we can ask. It may be that we don't ask the questions, and that, if you guys have good, interesting questions to ask, then they're the ones that we'll roll with.
I think we're good to go.
Never done it before, but let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it rolls. All right. So, of course, the first thing we need to do is, Rory?
So we're going to start with our adventure journal, and we need to kind of fill that. So this is really about, it's an important thing in terms of setting the ground rules for the kind of story that we want to tell, so that we all have the experience we kind of expect, and it doesn't get kind of shanghaied by any one particular player, and that to ensure that people stay engaged through the whole experience. So that's kind of the point of creating the setting first.
See, I have a long history of playing RPGs. Been doing it for literally decades, and I also have a long history of occasionally just playing really, really random characters. But I promise I am going to behave tonight. There will be no weird random bard action.
Well, if that happens, I will play this card, which is like redirect and...
Behave yourself, Michael.
Well, it's kind of like I'm checking out because the story isn't going, keeping me engaged. So this will be my cue if you get into your weirdness. I'm all for serious adventure.
Serious, high adventure.
Right.
It's going to be good.
So,
right, so
I'm going to write kind of off camera here. So the first thing is, what do we know about this world? So the question is, we want to choose the time period. I'm kind of looking at the cons. So I'm guessing we're going to suggest that it's the past. Anyone have any objections? Oh yeah, thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil, with future. Cheers, mate.
Okay. So are we okay with past? Okay. Dale's on board. Mike's on board.
1675. That's very specific.
Wow. Okay. That's the past. Are we willing to go with roughly 1675? I mean, it's different from what we were thinking, but I think we can integrate that.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the past.
I mean, you don't have a history degree or anything, do you?
No. I mean, that is like roughly. I want to say Renaissance.
Come on, chat. Y'all know.
No, it's after that.
Old times.
We were going to go like fantasy medieval. So let's, 1675 is probably a bit more specific than I know how to handle.
But I think medieval works, but with the fantasy twist. So those kind of, that kind of vibe is what we're looking for, I think.
Okay. Anyone any objections to kind of fantasy medieval?
I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
A long time ago sounds good.
So the question then is, what's the level of technology in this world? So again, this is something we were talking about today in the rules, actually, and we kind of were breaking it down into primitive, typical, futuristic.
Mm-hmm. And so like a fourth one would be not exactly right for its time. We came up with long lost ancient technologies, from a past civilization. But I think if we have like the typical level of technology, and we've discussed this on the first playthrough video as well, actually, where we had technology, but it was like, technology can be a hammer, technology can be just basic tools. So I think Dale's got it there, typical technology level.
It's great because we can just go, oh yeah, we'll just take Dale's comments.
Yeah, Dale sounds good. Thanks, Dale. So Machu Picchu type stuff. That was that kind of old ancient tech that we were thinking of. What was that? The thing, God, it was its anniversary a couple of days ago. The Antikythera mechanism.
Okay.
Never heard of it?
No.
It's really cool. Look it up.
Okay. So, steampunk medieval.
Ooh.
Oh, that's like Warhammer.
It is a bit. You want to go for it? Hey, this is your house.
Well, yeah, I think that kind of... Let's do that.
Steampunk medieval it is. Okay, so that can give us some interesting sort of twists on the plot. It can give us some strange and curious devices that we can use. I like the sound of that. That's cool.
So are there any superpowers, magic, any weirdness within this world?
I mean, okay, so magic, of course, is a major thing in fantasy RPGs. Superpowers, less so. Of course, but of course, we throw it out to the crowd. We throw it out to you, our dear and beholden viewers.
If we're going
clockwork, we have suggestions for.
Okay, I'm gonna link that to. Talk about steampunk as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's all cogs and gears, isn't it?
So
that's so dismissive.
So, Phil, you said cults magic. Is that it's controlled just by certain groups and cults, or just help me to understand that before I say yes or no to it?
Cults magic.
Is that
that's the kind of magic that I would generally be doing. I like the idea. I would like some sort of magical element in there.
But is it kind of elusive? Is it all pervasive?
I think people know about it, but it's not sort of like a thing you see every day. You might have a traveling bunch of adventurers come in to your town every once in a while, and one's a wizard, and he entertains the kids by firing water out of his fingers and things like that. But then he can also wreck things with fireballs, that kind of stuff.
So that could be the klutz magic. Okay, so should we go for that? Just kind of, I would consider elusive magic.
Yeah, it's there, but you don't see it very often.
Okay,
that sounds good to me. Hey, this is actually working. I'm impressed.
So, and this is kind of we said we'd stick to the rules, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so because I think we should say this because I think it's a really cool way the way the rules have been going. So. The next thing to fill in is give the world a name. But what we've discovered, it was kind of part of our intention, was that because we set these up as episodes, the notion of giving the series a name, which opens the potential for multiple episodes, and again, is keeping with the idea of a TV show. So creating a series name rather than giving the world a name is quite interesting.
So if this were an archetypal 1980s TV series that's set in fancy medieval times, it's got steampunk, it's got clockwork. Pilot.
This is the pilot episode.
This is the pilot episode of it. So if we were pitching it, what would we call it? So let's have some suggestions. Beyond the Monk's Cloak from Phil. We said family friendly, or maybe that's just my dirty mind
Yeah, that's
going
yours.
into weird places.
Okay.
I don't know, what's
Beyond the Monk's Cloak.
Beyond the Monk's Cloak? I don't know. I was hoping for something like one wordy, like Manimal, like the classic Airwolf.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Are you going to go for Beyond?
No,
the
I'm gonna
Cloak?
nix it and go. Okay, give us
Cogs, Gears, and Metal.
There's no magic in that. This is like it's got fantasy and magic.
Magical,
that sounds like
magical Cogs, Gears, and Metal. Cogs, Gears, and
no,
Metal.
but that sounds like Top Gear.
Yeah, medieval Top Gear. It's sort of like, this cart goes 4 miles an hour. We got the sting to drive it around the track.
Meanwhile, I've got the magically enhanced cart.
I have a magically enhanced horse, and it pulls it, and does the track in like 14 minutes. That'll work.
Okay, so I think we need to make up one. Unless you come up with a really cool one-namer. Steamlands.
I like that. I'm pretty sure that's already the name of a game, but I like it as a title of a thing. Rust is definitely the name of a game.
Yes. What about Steamlandia?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, okay, Steamlandia. And I promise I will not draw it into sort of like Portlandia kind of world. Because that would make it really weird.
These adventurers that are like sitting around dealing with hipster issues.
Drinking craft brews at the tavern, waiting for the next adventure to come in.
So we're done?
We're done.
Oh, tone.
Tone. So what kind of tone are we going for? Serious, but we will be open to some funny stuff if it happens.
Some comic relief.
Yeah.
To offset the gritty nature of the story.
Yeah, because life in medieval Steamlandia is not pleasant for 99.9% of the people who live there. So we need to reflect this in our tireless adventuring. This is serious business. Okay. Serious business, Dale.
But I think people are so used to playing story cubes as this kind of fun, frivolous storytelling game. So I think we should really put it through its paces and make it work for a serious story. So, I mean, are we going to go sort of like grim, dark kind of, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening? Or are we going to... See, I love Joe Abercrombie. Yeah. It's just total grim dark. So, let's try. You want to go like brutal darkness? It's going to be a challenge for me because I don't naturally go that way. So I think it'll be interesting. All right. We're going to do it. Okay. Brutal darkness. Mike Best is happy. Dark. All right. Or not just normal dark. It's dark. Like, okay. So that's it. I mean, we've created our setting. I think we all have a rough idea. And to me, it's like we're starting off in soft focus. We've kind of got the rough idea of it. But as soon as we jump into the episode, details are going to form. It's going to become much clearer how we're getting sucked into a particular adventure in this episode. Okay, cool. So with that sorted out, of course, we don't do characters yet. We need to find out what we are going to be dealing with. And that's... So the first thing we describe it as, it's like the opening of the episode, and we need to figure out what danger threatens this world. Okay. So using with no expense spared for the technology, I will be feels like a 1970s quiz show. I feel like Vanna White. There's a reference. Okay. So this. Hang on. Let's hold it. Actually, yeah, we should probably hold it to camera. All right. So. So I'll hold it because then I'll talk through. All right. Okay. So this is one of 6 opening danger cards, and the way we read it is, the episode opens at this location where this threat is pursuing or searching for someone or something. Okay, so we got to establish it. Basically, that one simple sentence is how we start the episode. Okay, so I'm going to pin this back up to the wall. I'll handle that. All right. And then we're going to roll story cubes. Your name's on them. You should probably be responsible for them. And then we'll kind of hold them up to the camera so you can make suggestions. Yeah. So we're going to need to choose 2 of the story cubes that we roll, and one of them will go on the location, so it'll tell us where the action is going to happen. One of them will go on the threat space. That's going to tell us what we're going to be dealing with. All right, let the magic happen. Okay, so I'm
Okay,
going
so
to
we
try
put them
and
back
put
in the
them
box.
in some kind of readable orientation.
Right.
And again, it's a case of you don't have to use the story cubes all the time. If you've got a specific idea that you want to play out, I kind of like using the story cubes because it forces me to think in ways I hadn't before.
All right, ready to go? This is what we are dealing with. Okay, so for those of you who are listening to this at work, because I know there's at least one of you doing that, we have a footprint, a arrow, as in a bow and arrow. We have 2 masks, the theatre symbol sort of thing. Question mark, an office block building type thing, a lightning bolt, a book, a beetle, and a tower. So, dear viewers at home, what sort of suggestions are we getting?
So Dale's already suggesting a library.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone got any other ideas for where this episode opens?
So, and one thing you should be considering is giving these suggestions names are very, very useful. So, like, be specific about the name, and if you can be specific about the description as well. So, I mean, obviously, this is like medieval Steamlandia. We're not thinking this is like the library that you have in your local town right now. Are we thinking like it's a big, dusty library? Are we thinking that it's, the only, library for miles around, hidden in a castle keep, that kind of thing?
So just examples as well. And, it can be the lightning bolt could be like the throne room of the god of thunder. Or it could, the theater mask could actually be on the stage of a theater, or it could be a traveling
show happening in the middle of a village, that kind of thing. You give some good suggestions. So, so Dale's updated his one with a dark tomb of knowledge edged in the port town of Kareth. Phil has jumped in with a library stroke Tower of Babel type place.
Okay, can we marry them together?
Yeah, why not?
So, okay, so let's use that at least as a location.
All right.
And Michael can do his magical stickiness.
Is going to be amazing if it comes off.
Okay, so we're using double-sided sticky tape so that we can actually pin the cubes on the wall to make it easier for everyone to
No expense has been spared. No expense has been found. If I could just get the sticky bit off, that'd be even better.
Okay, so while he's in that,
right.
If we give it a name, so the...
Okay, location.
In Steamlandia, this Tower of Babel type place is going to be called... What ideas have you got for a title?
Boom! Magic.
Just hope it stays sticky for the length of the game.
That's fine. We have plenty of other sticky things. It's grand. What's going to be fun is when we need to transfer it over to another. When you transfer some of them over.
We worry about that. So let me see.
Can you show the other cubes? Of course we can. All right. Whoa, down boy.
I'll just let them all slide down. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So these are the 8 that currently remain. So we need a threat. So once again, we have an arrow, we have theatre masks, we have footprint, a building, a lightning bolt, question mark, Union Pillar for the tower.
Union Pillar, okay. And you're going to make a note of that?
Okay, so that's actually quite nice because I hear the name Union Pillar and my brain sort of like starts firing off. Like, is this a main keep in the middle of like a bunch of states that are all sort of loosely formed together, that kind of thing?
Don't get into too much detail.
I know. We need to ask questions.
Okay, so a swarm of cockroaches. Okay.
I like that. It's disgusting.
Okay. Any other thoughts just before we go with that one?
Or are we cool with Phil's swarm of cockroaches? The unhappy drama student who has enchanted the beast from beneath. Invisible race with a footprint.
Oh, I think we got to go with that one.
That could be really cool. All right, so we have an invisible race of people.
So
that's pretty cool.
Have you got a name for that invisible race?
Yep. John, if you want to come up with a suggestion for a name, or other folks in the chat, do give us a...
So what is this invisible race known as in Steamlandia?
That's really cool. I love that
invisible
idea.
people.
I really like that idea.
How do they see each other?
We don't know. We'll find out when we ask questions.
How do they get dressed?
Do they get dressed?
That is true, actually.
When they get dressed, do their clothes go invisible? That is not one of the questions we'll be
I'm
asking.
blank. I'm assuming that's not the name of the race.
The blank.
No, look, the insubstantial.
Oh, that's nice, actually.
Caustic. Oh, yeah, you can tell he's the 3D guy. Okay.
What do you mean 3D guy?
Because caustics is like the effect of light bouncing through
things.
So I think I'm going to suggest, I think the insubstantial.
The insubstantial sounds cool.
Okay, so I'm just going to make a note of that on our people.
I was half tempted to go with the blank simply because of the other game that we're working on at the minute is called Blank.
Okay, so at Union Pillar, the insubstantial are pursuing someone or something. Dun, dun, dun. So literally, that's all we need to know right now. We just need to be able to frame it into one simple sentence because we're going to ask questions in a minute that's going to help us get the detail we need to deal with this threat. But first of all, we need to decide who are the characters, like what heroes are we going to play, and who are the heroes that are kind of best suited to deal with this threat in this episode as well. I'm
going to make a suggestion. When you are creating characters in Untold, you can do it in one of two ways. Number one, you can do the whole thing out of your own mind and put all the details down on your hero sheet, and just go for it, create from scratch. Number two, you can use the remaining story cubes to inspire you to come up with ideas and concepts to build your character. So I'd say if one of us does that and one of us does the other version, or one of us does story cubes and the other one throws themselves onto the mercy of the viewers. How about that? Do you want to rock, paper, scissors to see which one we're going to do?
I'll be the one.
You're gonna jump on the grenade?
Yeah. Okay. So, oh god. Right. So I'm gonna ask people to create my character.
It's all right. Dale says that we'll take care of you.
Thank you. Okay.
I worry that it's going to be the "we'll take care of you" and the "we'll take care of you" kind of way.
Thanks, Mike. So I'm going to roll the story cubes, and then we'll hold them up to the camera, and then I'll go through the questions that we want to answer. Okay.
So I'll hold these up because you're going to have to do writing.
Nice. Okay.
All right. So these are the images that Rory hath rolled. Okay. So we have a dice. We have a tent and teepee. We have the theatre masks again. A pyramid. A walking stick, the planet, which you've set sideways for some reason, and sleeping person. So person.
These are just to answer really the kind of, I would use it for like first two questions. So my job role is, and my aim is. So my job role is the thing that I kind of do every day in Steamlandia. So
if we were to generic this as in D&D, sort of, I suppose it's what is your class? What's your
kind of yeah.
So what can Rory be? You know, you see this face, you see these cubes,
you see this threat.
You see this threat. You should consider the threat as well. A cube maker, brilliant.
Okay.
I remember when Rory Story Cubes were first made in 1675.
Okay, so remember the tone is grim dark. It's kind of fantasy setting with steampunk clockwork. So
we have actually something that's quite fitting for you: a steam-powered tinkerer using
like
a tent.
Tinker.
A tinker.
Okay, so I'm kind of
a fix-it guy.
Like so I'm not. I'm taking it. I'm not steam-powered, but I kind of tinker with steam-powered technology.
No, says Dale. Yes, you do. Okay, so there you go. You are our fixer guy. You when everything blows up and this steam bursting out of things, you are the person who we would call to come and fix things up. So
am I like not engineer, but kind of like a handyman?
Yeah, I actually think tinkerer is probably the best description of it. Okay,
I'm a tinkerer.
But yeah, all these things coming through, like handyman, you build equipment, you mess with the steam technology, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Well,
that could be one of my attributes. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to put it down as tinkerer, and then we can expand on that. Okay. So my aim is like, what's the thing that drives me and gets me out of bed every day? Oh, and I have a company called
Budget and Scarborough. So yeah, we need an aim for Rory now. The thing he lives for, the thing that drives him. And again, we use the same symbols. You can use the same symbol again if you wish.
A rogue tinkerer.
So what sort of, if you were playing this yourself, what kind of things would you think drive you?
So the thing that kind of immediately comes to mind is like, I'm not professionally trained, because I've just learned this over time. So it's like, I want to be accepted into the guild of, not tinkerers, but the guild of engineers.
Guild of engineers, because yeah, engineer implies, you know, professionalism. It implies that you know what you're doing, and you might know what you're doing, but you're just not sort of like, you don't have a certificate on your hot wall. So
no, so I kind of have like a chip on my shoulder, and I really want to get into the guild of engineers. That's the thing that drives me. Yeah.
So we've got a couple of suggestions. We have John says finding new technology could be your aim.
Well, that's maybe
but we need to use the cubes.
Maybe I need to do something before I'll get accepted into the guild. And maybe that's like creating or developing some kind of technology that's of a standard beyond what I'm able to do at the moment.
A need to be in theatre? You want to be the next Shakespeare? It's not very grimdark, is it, Phil? Come on.
I'm gonna this time I'm gonna stick with our thing. It's
maybe you can't want to be a tinkerer anymore.
I'm gonna stick with, like, I have aspirations. So it's like I'm kind of, you know, down in the dirt, but I want to get up, because I somehow think my life would be better if I become accepted by the guild.
We are all of us living in the gutter, but some of us are reaching for the stars.
Okay. So my aim is to be accepted into the guild of engineers.
I bet you never thought you'd get Oscar Wilde quotes on a Kickstarter live video at 3 minutes past midnight.
Okay, then I'm gonna let me do this one. I'm gonna skip. This place is cold. This could be my hometown, but I don't really lose that for the moment. So my starting attributes.
Cool. So go for
re-roll.
it. We will re-roll the cubes, because now Rory needs to decide what his 2 starting attributes will be. So he can either have an amazing ability or power, a helpful item or companion.
You have a design pattern for a new type of pyramid.
It's upside down. It's wicked. Or he can have an area of expertise. So you have to choose 2 of those 3, and there must be 2 different things. So remember again the kind of character he is. He's a tinkerer. He aspires to be sort of like accepted into the guild of engineers of Steamlandia, and this is his dream. So what kind of stuff can he have to assist? We'll grab. So images that we have a little story dude with a shadow behind him.
Yeah, I call him like the shadow monster.
Shadow monster. We have a cell phone, obviously very useful.
What was cutting edge when I first designed the icon?
Looks like, what is that, Nokia 3210? Yeah, perfect. We have an apple, we have a tree, the speech bubble, the sort of concerned, sad face, and the sort of compass windmill. No, what's it called? Not windmill.
Well, actually,
for me, that says chaos. But
because we're talking about Warhammer, that was my little nod to Warhammer when I created this set. Even though people say it's a compass, it was actually the chaos symbol.
I'm trying to think. What's the name of the thing on a map that has the north, south, east, west? It's got a rose, I want to say, something like that. You guys are clever than I do. You'll know. An innate ability to always go in the right direction.
Now, is that like physically to walk, or is it like to choose the right path?
So it's just sort of like, you know.
Yeah, because maybe that's why I'm able to tinker.
You're half pigeon. You always know where. Choose the right path. Yeah. I like that. John, I know what you mean. Compass is we would normally call it a compass, but there's like a really sort of posh, upper class way of describing it. I want to say it's a rose or something like that. I don't know. I'll have to look up when I get home.
Okay, so I've got an innate ability to choose the right path.
Mm-hmm.
So what's my other... one of the things, again, we haven't put in here that we've added since we've been talking is a companion. So so I've got my amazing ability or power. That's that covered. I can have a helpful item or companion or an area of expertise.
I will get closer to the camera. There you go. I know you could have a shadow monster as a companion. Yeah, actually, Phil has just said it. Yeah, your shadow can separate from your body.
Is that power or is that companion?
I think your companion could just be the shadow. It's the shadow, and weird things happen to it. So your shadow appears even when it's not like light out and things like that.
I've got a thought how that might link into the insubstantial. Okay.
Ooh, interesting. All right, so we're going to go for that. We're going to have Rory's shadow is essentially sentient, I suppose, and it can do stuff. Does that sound good?
So can I almost like become my shadow and occupy its form and travel with it? Or is it just it's like a third party that I don't have any control over? Hey,
I was right. A map direction symbol is called a compass rose, by the way.
Okay, now come on, everyone, focus.
Focus now. Come on, Grimdark. See, I told you. I always end up derailing things. If it was a companion, then it would be separate. So it's a thing. It has a mind of its own. We will find out what kind of mind it has, I am sure. Dan makes a very good point. If it was a companion, then it would be separate. Yes. Otherwise, it would be a power. So there you go.
That's true. Okay, so that's me. Oh, my name. I need to get my character name.
Mm-hmm.
So I can either just be Rory, the Tinkerer, or Phil. Thanks.
Phil the Tinkerer. Grimdark. Generally on Grimdark names like really ridiculous.
Lornak, Dornian, I don't know. What?
I find Grimdark oddly humorous. I don't know why. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah. It's the fact that they all treat it seriously. What makes it serious.
Well, so we've got one suggestion, which is Phil. Phil the Wanderer.
Okay, well, let's make it a bit more like Grimdark.
Dwarf Phil.
Okay, I'm going for that one.
Lorak Borgen. Eror. Lorak Borgen sounds good. There you go. Phil's serious suggestion.
One day, Mike, we'll pick one of your options. Okay, so Lorak Borgen. Okay.
Cool. I can guzzle my cold tea. All right, so now it's time. Mine was serious, as Mike. All right, so now it's time for me. I'm gonna throw myself on the mercy of the crowd. So I'm gonna crowdfund my own name, and
I feel like I should go and put the kettle on and make a cup of tea.
It might be an idea. It'd be crazy loud. All right, so team viewers, tell me, what is my job? What am I going to do? I would like to be something very different to the Tinkerer. So
are you going to do this without story cubes?
Without story cubes.
Okay.
Dishwasher. I could work. I could work in the pub. I could work in the bar. That kind of thing. A lowly pot boy.
So
I did it as a kid. I know I've got the skills.
So we sound like kind of two lowly characters who are going to get swept up in this grand adventure.
Okay, so I'm gonna be the pot boy at the local pub, the local. I want to say bar, but bar's not right. So pot boy. Tavern. There you go. Pot boy stroke dishwasher. I wash the dishes, but I haven't washed myself.
I was in fixing your mechanical dishwasher. Actually, selling how you could automate.
It's like, we've already got a dishwasher. He's over there. All right, so my aim is called Jeff. All right.
Okay.
What is my aim? What do I get out of bed for in the morning aside from washing dishes and collecting pots and cups? As I currently work, as basically a cleaner in the local tavern, I'm going to assume that my aspirations are going to be low at best, but I'd love to escape, I suppose.
Well,
we dream of making a special cheese.
Yeah, I kind of have this idea of you either secretly wanting to become a magician, because it's this thing of it's going to fix your life and it's going to change everything.
So Dale's got a good suggestion. You love to find out how things work. From Mike, Dale says, "I aspire to adventure and find glory." So maybe I just want a way out. I want to find a way to escape from this day-to-day drudgery. So yeah, okay, so I'm going to go for that one. I aspire to adventure and to find glory. So my aim is to find glory through adventuring.
So I'm going to jump back to Mike's suggestion for your name, because I was actually twisting it around. Jeff Collard. But Jeff Cold, like you're cold to adventure.
I'm writing it down, but I disagree with it entirely. Called,
I'm just trying to keep Mike happy.
Collard. There you go. Mike gets it. It's even written down there. There you go. Jeff called to adventure. So I need some starting attributes. What kind of power? What kind of helpful item or companion? What area of expertise could I, a lowly pot boy making mere pennies a day, what kind of things could I have? Like a built-in innate ability. And
again, think of it in relation to the narrative of the story, because we're going to get sucked into this adventure in some way or other. So we kind of want stuff that's going to be useful, not comical, redundant stuff.
My thumb glows with the light of a star. It could be something I'm ashamed of. It could be a thing, I wear gloves all the time, because I'm washing the pots all the time.
I'm gonna throw it out for one or two other things so that we can kind of balance them out.
Okay, go for it.
So what else might be?
Dale's away. Bye, Dale. Thank you for watching for this bit.
So what else? Power.
I like the idea of having a hidden ability that I'm almost sort of like ashamed of.
Okay.
That I have to keep super secret. Maybe I'm like I said, John says notice details. I have this. Maybe I have deidetic memory, something like that. Is that what it's called? Like a incredible memory for details. For I can just see a thing and it's like photographic memory.
Okay.
I like that. That sounds cool. So that's
slightly different than that's like having a sharp eye. John's suggesting.
Yeah. So I'm going to go for that. So I have a sharp eye. I don't exactly know how I'm going to use it yet, but I can have it.
So it'll become like an ability.
Yeah. So I will write down. I have ability. So I'm going to write down sharp eye because that covers a multitude of sins. So I can now either have a helpful item. I wouldn't have a companion because you've already got one. So I'm going to say I'll either have a helpful item or an area of expertise and something I'm really, really knowledgeable about.
I think you should have an item. I'd
like an item.
Because it's this thing that you look at and it's the thing that's kind of like prompting you to go on an adventure, but you've never gone on one. So it's something that was maybe given to you or you found.
Skeleton key from Phil.
Oh, what if because you were working in the tavern? What if it was something that was like
something left behind, something that somebody lost?
Yes.
A skeleton key could work. Maybe I'm looking. It's very. It's ornate. It's a very sort of like a staff that directs you towards hope. Is there any hope in this grim, dark world of ours? That would be two things with direction as well, because you've got this amazing sense of yes, Mike, because you've got your amazing sense.
I think it's kind of too similar. So I would go with.
I'm going to go for the key because it could be like very, very sort of like specifically decorated. It's very sort of like ornate, and I'm just trying to find the lock with which it is paired, and maybe that sort of like will unveil my destiny kind of thing. So I'm going to go for item. Ornate skeleton key. And you do not know how hard it is for me to say that word.
So what if... Because I'm trying to bring in a little bit of the kind of steampunkiness to it and clockwork. What if it's like a skeleton key, but it's got like a twisting mechanism that causes the key elements to change?
Ooh, that's pretty
like
cool.
You cycle through different locks.
So, okay, I'm definitely going for that because that sounds really cool. So on a skeleton key with twisting mechanism. So yeah, this is where the details are super useful. Getting details will spring ideas off in your mind when questions and actions happen. So twisting mechanism that changes key layout.
I can imagine like frantically trying to open the door going, come on, turning the...
Clunk, 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 like Mike says. Love it. Awesome. So we have characters.
Yes.
Go for it. So we have Lorak Borgen, Tinkerer,
yes,
who's looking to be accepted into the Guild of Engineers. He has this amazing, innate and indescribable ability to just always choose the right path. And he has also a spooky ability to detach his shadow that can just go off and do his own
So it sounds
thing.
like I have the embarrassing thing that you were talking about.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
So I have, how are you going to pronounce my surname?
Jeff Collard.
Jeff Collard, who is a potboy stroke dishwasher at the local tavern, who gets up every morning thinking that this is going to be the day, going to find some glory through adventuring. Oh, Jeff for sure, yes.
So Phil's question, does everyone who plays the game need to have a character? Generally, if you're playing them kind of as a cooperative game, yes, every player will have a character. There have been times where, like during the playtesting and stuff, I didn't create a character and I kind of ended up acting like the GM for the other players. I would just give them hints and nudges and guide them to, create their story. But generally, we consider it a game where everyone's sitting down to play. So therefore, yes, all players would have a character.
One thing as well, obviously the setup, the creation of the characters, the initial setup of the world and everything, it's taken a while. It generally does take a little bit of time to get everything sorted out, but you'll see that the game actually accelerates quite quickly once we actually start throwing ourselves into it. So yeah, I think we're ready to return to our scene.
Okay, so the episode opens at the Union Pillar, which is like a library.
This font of all, like Temple of Alexandria kind of thing, Library of Alexandria.
In the world of Steamlandia, where the insubstantial are pursuing someone or something.
All right, and we get to ask up to 4 questions. You can ask one, you can ask all 4, the choice is yours, but the purpose of those questions is to find out what is going on. And all right, it's time to work on it.
A really weird thing has just happened. A cat is trying to get into our house, and I'm going to have to go close the window. Excuse me, 1 second. Mike, do you want to ask the first question?
All right, so people at home, what kind of questions do you want us to ask the story cubes? We will roll said cubes, the remaining 7 that are not on the board, and these will inspire our answer. Generally, we are trying to find out details and information about what is going on and how we can deal with it. Now, Rory has dealt with the cat, which was, that was nearly going to jump in. Special guest, which would have been cool and weird. All right.
So, we need our first question?
So, I would suggest our first question should be something along the lines of something basic. So, what are the insubstantial looking for? Because that's going to establish that they're actually looking for a thing as opposed to a person. So, let's roll the cubes, and then it's down to you guys to interpret them. Also, generally when you're playing, it's the person who asks the question who gets to roll the cubes, because then you don't have somebody just trying to steal everything.
So Phil is asking, why are they chasing someone? So I would probably suggest we need to figure out who or what they're chasing first, and then we'd ask why. Yeah,
but we will ask that second. All right, so here is our cubes for the first roll. So what are the insubstantial looking for? What are they seeking?
And again, I would emphasize, in terms of just setting up the story, it is not the characters themselves. That happens kind of later in the story. So it's something external to the heroes in the story.
All right. Rory, looking at this, what kind of suggestions would you have for it?
Well, I think mixtape. It could be. I'm thinking of like a shard of a fallen star. You know, that's this kind of like famous object that's held in the tower, in the Union Pillar. It could be the head librarian or something with the walking stick. It could be potentially a spell, like a sleeping spell. It could be a messenger, which is the letter icon on the bottom, or it could be a letter that's destined for the king. You know, I would have immediately gone like my shadow companion, but again, I'd kind of not do that for the opening danger. And in the world, what would maybe a special map or something that's contained in here. So things like that might be some suggestions.
Yeah, so we have an idea from John: a way to become visible with the shadow cube.
Okay, so they're searching for a way to become visible.
So which symbol would?
Oh, no, so he's saying it's the shadow.
Of course. Yeah.
But then I would suggest it really helps if you can turn it into something tangible. So again, it's like so where does that knowledge come from? Is it contained within something or within someone? And being specific like this just really helps with the kind of story that you're telling.
Yeah. So Phil has suggested that they are looking for a map. So of course, you know, that could be represented by the world symbol that we have there. Yeah. So a map. Maybe we can get a little bit more detail about it.
Well,
what kind of map are they after?
So I mean, you can use other icons to help with identifying what the map is.
So it could be like a map to the stars. It could be sort of like, you know, a constellation map of the sky. That kind of thing.
So I'm looking at the shadow one. So maybe it's a map to the insubstantial. Maybe it's like, you know, in Irish mythology, there's the fairy world, which basically overlays our world as well. So maybe the world of the substantial is like a kind of parallel world that coexists.
All right. I like that as a concept. So we're going to go for that. So we're sort of like combining our idea with your idea. So yeah, we're going to have a world map that is specifically for the insubstantial themselves. That actually makes me think of a few things. So we're just scribbling that down. So on the adventure journal sheet that you get with the game, there's spaces for notes that you can put down, people that you meet, things that you find, places that you go, and general notes as well, which will help you keep track of everything. But of course, giving things names, giving things like specific descriptions, they really help sort of like lodge them in your mind and help you fire off and do, you know, weird and wonderful adventures, or in this case, grim and dark adventures. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm watching what they're saying. It's the insubstantial map to their home. Yeah, so I think that's it. And so it becomes kind of interesting is like, what if this fell into the wrong hands? Are they trying to stop someone from getting it, or do they need it to find something? So that might lead into the question that Phil asked earlier, which was like, why are they pursuing this thing?
Okay, so cubes.
So before we roll it, so we just checked, guys. So going back to that earlier question, suggesting we asked, like, why are the substantial looking for the map?
Yeah.
Any objections to that?
Sound good?
Speak now or forever hold your tongue.
No. They're trying to find the ultimate tinker. All right, well, let's see what we find out when we roll the cubes. Okay. I just need to turn that one around because otherwise it will make no sense whatsoever. All right, so here are our symbols for this one. We have the arrow, not the bow and arrow version, just an arrow pointy one. Fish, rainbow with a cloud, speech bubble, question mark, smiley face, and the dice at the bottom. So do these symbols give you any inspiration
for why are the insubstantial pursuing or seeking this map?
I wonder what the insubstantial call us as humans in Steamlandia. Oh, they are the substantial. They are the opposites of us.
Substantial, yeah. The matter. Yeah.
We'll come up with a cool name for it in a bit. Oh, yeah. All right, so
why are they pursuing the map? What inspiration do you get from the icons here?
The question mark, they don't know. They've always done it. It's just an innate thing to them.
Yeah.
Maybe the map is a sacred item to them.
Well, it's one of those things. The question mark is always a tricky one because sometimes it gives you this kind of like an answer but non-answer. And at this point, it really helps to have like very clear
solid
kind of
details.
motivations and actions.
Okay, it might be a totem.
Okay. So, yeah. So, Phil, how are you using the icons to come up with a totem? It's not necessary, but I'm just kind of curious. Are you picking that up from the cubes, or is it just an idea that's being sparked?
We shall find out when Phil is
what else? I also think of it like, they're trying to find their way to the end of the rainbow. It's maybe they are trying to find their way back home.
So Phil says it's an idea from the previous two comments, while Mike says with the speech bubble, they could be seeking it because it's based on stories that have been passed down through generations. So we could actually, I think we could combine them. Like they're all tradition. This is a map that they have always been seeking, but now they know the location of it. How about that?
Okay, so that leads to a question.
Okay.
So for me, the question is, why now? Like, why are they seeking the map? I don't know. Or how did they discover its location?
Yeah, let's go for that. How did they discover the location of the mystical map? All right. We'll see what
That's question 3, isn't it?
This is question number 3. Remember, we have a total of 4 maximum to ask. All right, and here are your symbols. How did they discover the location of the map? So we have our speech bubble. We have the theatre masks. We have a tower for a castle or a fort. We have a flashlight, stroke torch, depending on what side of the Atlantic you're on. A mysterious face, an alien face, a beetle, and a key.
What I've got.
He's very excited.
I am.
So remember, guys, when you come up with suggestions, if you can link what icons you are using to inspire you, we will find that super, super helpful. Rory, pitch your idea.
So the key, it was the owner of the skeleton key that was left behind. That person was, I don't know, like a magician or someone who knew about this map, and the substantial had extracted the information from him. That's kind of how he went missing that night, and that's how you came to acquire the key.
Interesting. Could we bring in this higher power told them? Maybe the higher power told them where told them where to find this person, or this prophecy.
He could have been like a high priest of the tower or something.
Okay.
Oh, not the tower, of the pillar.
Of the pillar.
So he would channel like information from the higher gods.
Okay. Yeah, I Phil likes that idea. I like that idea. It brings me as a character into the story because, I'm standing here holding this ridiculous looking key. And yeah, okay, so there we go. That is our answer. I like it.
Okay, so we want to give him a bit more detail. So let's bring this character a little bit to life. So what's his name? Let's get kind of clear on that.
Okay, so this is going to be the guy who is now missing. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so this he is High Priest Eldritch.
Okay, can anyone else come up with the
Yeah, I'm
name?
really bad at names. I'm okay at making games, but I'm very bad at making names. So, yeah. But High Priest something. Give us a High Priest something. Because he's a High Priest.
I know, no, but it was all this map talk. High Priest Ordnance. Sorry.
Get out. This is your house, and get out.
Onan?
Frederson.
Okay.
John is bailing. See you soon, sir.
See you, John.
Thank you for your input. We appreciate it greatly.
Okay, so we've got High Priest Frederson. Okay, do we need to know anything more about him?
Well, we will maybe find out more about him later when we ask more questions. Or Fred for short. In this grim,
High Priest
dark
Fred.
world. The High Priest Fred. So we have one more question that we can ask as well. So far, if you want to summarize our information, we know that.
So the Substantial are pursuing the world map of Insubstantial. And it was... I forgot how we got that question. The way they discovered it was they extracted the information from the High Priest Frederson, who we think is missing. Okay, we're assuming because of the key.
Because he's left the mystical skeleton key behind. I can't say that word.
So one of the questions I find really helpful at this point is like, how are we involved in all this?
How do we know this? Yeah. So what's our place in this? So,
but I even like how are we involved? Like, what's the thing that pulls us into it? Because theoretically that could be happening, and it just happens.
Yeah, you could be tinkering away in your heart, and I'm working doing the washing up. So we have cubes. So how are we involved? Oh, it's come up a few times. All right.
It's haunting us.
How are we involved? So we have the alien face, we have the TP stroke tent, we have the shadow man, once again, a happy face, a tree, the theatre masks, and the Z's of sleep. So how are we involved? I wouldn't... My suggestion for this one, I would be inclined to go for the sleepy face. The previous night, obviously, I found this weird skeleton key, and I brought it home, and I tucked it under my pillow made of bricks and straw, and I had the most curious dream that told me to go to a place. It told me to go to the middle of the town at this time.
Okay.
So it's almost like a deja vu thing. And it summoned me to go there.
Okay. I'm going to use the similar icon in terms of answering it. Just to tie it all together is that, again, with my innate ability to choose the right path, I kind of was studying. I was like trying to get into the library. I'm either like fell asleep outside trying to get in. I'm waiting for it to open. So maybe that I'm kind of waiting to get into the library because I want to get a book on tinkering.
I'm amazed that they let you in, to be honest.
Well, I haven't let me in yet. That's why I'm outside.
You're just going to stand there for ages waiting.
I'm outside, and I've fallen asleep outside when the Substantial arrive.
Okay, cool.
How does that sound?
We have some really good suggestions as well. We had the tent for the town that you both inhabit. Phil suggested that they see you when you are dreaming. That's a bit spooky and a little bit Santa Claus is coming to town, but that's just me. But yeah, these I like those as concepts. Like it keeps it in the fantasy sort of thing. Messages being imparted through dreams. People looking to better themselves. The fact that we both used the same symbol, but it gave us two different ways of bringing the story. So are you guys who are currently watching, are you okay with that? We are going to think that yes, that is all right. We get an okay. One is all that we need.
Yeah, we got two.
So that's
not quite majority, but we'll go with it.
Hey, that is all right. Cool. So those are our 4 questions.
Okay, so it's now time to take action.
How do we do that, Rory?
So the way we take action in Untold is we declare an action and we use kind of a pretty standard statement, and it is, I want to, or I try to do something. And we say what that is. And then we have our set of reaction cards, which have different faces and kind of like modifiers on it. But they cover the spectrum and are weighted generally towards success. But also you've got things where things can go terribly wrong as well. And the important thing is we kind of use these throughout the whole game, so we don't ever reshuffle them back in. It's just they're played and discarded, and there's enough in here so there'll always be 2 or 3 left at the end of the game, depending on whether you attempt to use all of your actions. And that, again, was just a reminder, is during the game, when you have either questions or actions that you want to use, you do not have to use all of them. So if you feel you've got enough information or you've resolved the scene, you can just move on to the next one. Yeah,
so your aim is to come to a resolution at the end of the scene that you are happy with. For this one, we have 4 actions that we get to do. And we basically just got to decide what we want to do to try and sort this out.
Well, so, I mean, are we going to assist them or are we going to stop them? We're taking it as a threat, so I'm guessing we don't want them to take the map.
So what are we going to do to deal with it? So I am going to use my sharp eye ability to see if there's anything around that's going to assist me. Let's think. How am I going to do this?
So I try to
find a hefty branch. No, that sounds silly. That sounds ridiculous.
Well, I have something.
All right, you go have something while I think of something proper.
So I'm going to use my innate ability to choose the right path. So I'm going to try and find the map before the insubstantial can get to it. Okay,
so with the map being in the tower and you are sat outside the tower, your action is going to be, how are you going to do that?
So I'm going to try and find a kind of like a back door in.
Okay.
So I'll do that first, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to try and find a back door into the tower. Okay.
All right, so
I have shuffled these.
And take the top card.
So I'm going to show it to the camera first before I get to see it. So I tried to do this and... Oh, no.
It does not go well.
So it does not go well. But it's just a generic doesn't go well. It's not even worse than anything. So I spend my time searching and I cannot find the way in and the substantial are getting closer.
Okay. All right. So my action is going to be I walk up to the main door and I try to open it using my ornate key. It looks like it will fit, and I put it in and start twisting it around to see if it'll jiggle the it will jiggle the, what do you call the bits at the end of the key? The key bits. The teeth. That'll do. So I put it in the lock and I jiggle it around in an attempt to open the main door. All right, so the reveal is... All right, so
you succeed.
I succeed, but... So the door opens up like that, and it's like, oh, I can see inside. I can see inside the inside this legendary library, but the insubstantial noticed that the doors have been flung wide open and race towards the entrance.
So I'm going to play my and card. I'm going to say, and by this point, I've actually come in this kind of way where I kind of find the right path. I've kind of walked full circle around the tower just to see you opening the door.
Just at the right time. Everything is fine.
So I'm like, are you going in?
So, are you going? Should we both go in? Okay, let's do that. All right. Okay, can you see them? Okay, I hear them. There are so many of them.
It's like this.
I hear the thundering of feet on the ground, and I feel the rush of wind as they run past me to get in.
We did forget to ask how many. But anyway.
But now
okay, so we've got 2 actions left in the scene, and I would suggest we throw it out to the viewers to suggest what action should we take next.
Yes.
So if you kind of point it towards one, either Lorak or
Jeff,
and declare their action, and then we'll see what happens.
All right. Like I said, it needs to be something that fits into the current scene. It needs to be something that's going to help us move towards
stopping them.
A resolution. Yeah. Not necessarily a positive resolution. You know, most of the best adventures, you know, don't have good things going on all the time. But yeah, it would be cool if you guys come up with a suggestion for what one of us can do as an action. Actions are always individual. You don't do like group actions together because that sort of pulls it away from how the game works, I suppose. But it's well,
I would never force an action on another character, and I'd never do anything that would kill or harm another character.
Okay.
You begin to climb the spiral staircase. Is it directly in the crypt? Do you make it to the top?
Okay, so how can we do this?
So we tried to climb the spiral staircase and outrun the substantial.
So who's going to do it? Phil, you came up with the question. Make the call. Is it going to be Jeff or is it going to be Laura?
Well, here's the thing. So I can say, are you okay with doing this together?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That works. Yeah. So that way you're not forcing an action, but yes, I can agree to do that. Okay. So we give it a shot. We try and go up the thing, and it is
we succeed.
But I have an idea.
Okay.
All right. So we make it to the top of the tower, but the rickety woodworm-infested stairs collapse beneath us. There you go.
See,
Phil,
he is seeing the future.
You and I, man, we are of one mind. I like this. Well done, sir.
So for other players, does anyone want to throw in an and, like a yes and at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Or are we okay with it just being that?
Phil says he's part Vulcan. Well done. I don't know if I quite have the ears. But yeah, I like the idea of the thing. It collapses behind us. But no, I think that's okay.
So we've climbed. We've got ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
The stair collapses as we reach.
We hear the sound of falling and then groaning bodies that we can't see at the bottom of the thing. It's just like.
Okay, so we've got one last action left, and we really want to try and again attempt to kind of successfully close this scene and resolve this threat. So what would be like our last action?
Did they all fall to their doom? No. They're groaning in various levels of agony, Phil. I think we'll. I'd like to keep the insubstantial around after literally just inventing them as a race.
Well, it can be more than just the ones that were in the.
Oh yeah. There could be loads of them outside. So yeah, they are. It's very grim. That's very true.
Well, yeah. Let's actually.
Do you want to kill them off?
Yeah.
All right. They're all dead. Done.
So these guys die. But it's not the end of them.
It's not the end. I mean, they're literally a race. So there's loads and loads of them.
Okay, so that's the yes and. So the substantial die as a result of the collapse of the staircase.
Okay.
The second wave is coming.
I like how Mike has jumped in, and the route to the airship is now apparent because every steampunk thing needs to have an airship. Okay,
so we've got one last action to take in this scene. So what are we going to do? So we're going to try to do something, or we want to do something.
Do you know what? I think what we should do is one of us should try and pick up this map. We should try and touch the map. Just grab it.
So have we found it?
It's at the top of the staircase.
Okay, so we're assuming it is there. Okay.
Okay. Well, how about we go for this? Rather than saying that it's right there, I try to use my sharp eye, my ability, in order to scan the room at the top of the staircase and find the map. Sound good?
Because it's insubstantial.
Because it's also invisible.
Yeah.
So I look for an empty plinth with nothing.
You're looking for
on
the
it.
absence of detail.
Yeah. When I'm really, really good at looking for detail, I'm actually now looking for nothing. Literally nothing. I'm looking for void. All right.
Okay.
And
oh yes,
we're getting a lot of butts.
Yeah, that means
right.
We're going to pay the price later.
So I find a suspicious-looking empty plinth. As Phil says, I look for dark matter, essentially. I reach my hand out.
Mm-hmm.
I touch the map because I can feel it. And suddenly, you and I at the top of this tower are both engulfed in light.
Okay.
And we disappear. We become insubstantial.
So does the world around us change then? Does it look different, or is it kind of we see the world as the world? We
see a pile of bodies at the bottom of the. We can now see the insubstantial. We see like this pile of broken bodies at the bottom of the thing, and things do look different to us. It's familiar enough that we recognize the room from before, but it is different. I like Phil's come up with the suggestion, the Underverse. Okay,
so I'm going to name that as a location.
We're going to use the Underverse as it's almost like a sublocation. I mean, we're still in the big tower. We're still in the big library. We're just in a sort of like slightly sideways version of it.
So the map isn't just a map of the base; it's actually
it's a key. It gets us in.
So we've kind of got to the end of that scene. We've got the map. The consequences, it's transported us into the Underverse.
Mm-hmm.
So now we need to see how the plot twists. Okay.
So here we go. This is the second card. Do you want to do the reveal to the pupils?
Yes. So if you look, and again, this is prototype artwork, but there's a dotted line here showing that there's a connection with the insubstantial, and this icon means that they have a darker purpose.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So
we're looking at our key to all the icons that appear in the game. Okay. So the insubstantial.
Hey, Mike says he wants a thumbs up button. We have a thumbs up card. How does that work for you, sir? You can just punch the screen for a couple of seconds just to give us those thumbs up. It's all good.
Okay.
All right, so we'll put this on here.
So the plot thickens because even though we thought that the substantial were pursuing the map to the insubstantial, they've actually got another darker purpose.
Okay, so we will shake up the cubes. So again, one of these cubes is going to...
oh no!
Oh no, indeed. One of these cubes is going to be put on the board. And it's going to be up to us as a team to decide what is going to happen. All right, so we have an open eye. We have a walking stick, a star. Again, the torch, a house, the compass symbol, stroke Warhammer Chaos Extravaganza, and the looking glass. Is that looking glass? Is that a proper word for it? Magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass can be a tennis racket. It could be a swatter.
So remember, we are looking for a darker purpose.
So what are they actually planning or doing?
Yeah. So what were the?
So Phil is suggesting that they're actually looking for a wormhole to another place. So it could be that they never actually belonged here in the first place. They also want to release the Cyclops.
Release the Cyclops.
Release the hounds.
I mean, okay, so maybe their darker purpose is destruction. You know, using a Cyclops to destroy the pillar.
I'm kind of drawn to the first one.
Yeah, you
in
want
that it's like they want to open. If you think of it, their world is insubstantial because it hasn't been kind of fully realized. So they want to open a portal that will basically mean that their world will consume our one.
Okay, so the matter in our universe will be brought into the Underverse and give them the substance that they so desire.
Yeah, so at the moment, like, we're the kind of the majority, but this will actually completely wipe Steamlandia out, and it'll be taken over by the world of the insubstantial.
We are getting some positives for that. Okay, I like that as a thing.
I forget what icon.
It's the star. I'm going to say it's the star.
Okay. So
all right.
So that one. Do your stickery thing. Okay. So Michael's getting that ready. We have up to 3 questions we can ask about this to figure out a bit more about what's going on. So as he's doing that, what questions do you want to ask in relation to the darker purpose that the insubstantial have in terms of wanting to, how do we say it simply? The darker purposes they want to destroy or open a portal, fully open the portal to their world, thereby destroying Steamlandia.
All right, I will stick this on here. So one thing of note as well, the second scene is just questions. It's just about details. You do no actions on this scene, so it's all about trying to find out as much information as you can. We get some good suggestions coming through.
Ooh.
All right, so we have, go for it.
So Mike is asking why your planet. So why is it they want to destroy our planet? What do we have that they want? What resources do they want to destroy the map? Is it to destroy Jeff's key?
My key is very useful. I mean, it got us in here.
So again, we want to ask it in terms of asking a question, we recommend asking open-ended questions using what, where, when, why, who, and how. And that's because it creates the possibility of multiple outcomes and answers, which are really vital when it comes to rolling story cubes and using them to answer those questions. So, I'm wondering, like, do they really care about our place, or because we're saying their darker purpose is just to open the portal? Yeah,
are we just, a sundry aside? It's just something to be woofed off, and there you go, get out. We're just an energy source.
So how do we phrase it as a what, where? Well, maybe that's it. Like, what do they need to power? Okay, I always find this a really good question to ask. How long have we got until the portal is fully open? Because it sets a ticking clock.
Yeah, it gives us the element of drama that we so desire.
Definitely need.
20 minutes, says Mike. Thanks.
Is that your bedtime?
All right, so symbol-wise.
Because this is great because you come up with like seasons and events and stuff like that act as the trigger for the whole thing.
All right, so we, of course, have 6 cubes in play. So the question is, using these, how long have we got? There's one that jumps out very obviously to me. Will our watching audience? Yep, Mike got it at bedtime. So basically, we have until, let's say, the sun goes down.
I'm gonna throw it a little bit different.
Okay.
Phil,
you clever genius of a man. The portal opens when the Shadow Man is visible, so it opens the following morning. So that gives us like a day of action to work around, basically.
No, it's the night. Because remember, I was outside at night.
Oh, okay.
So we've basically got until morning.
Okay, so we have until morning. So we have merely a few hours. He is too clever for us, says Mike.
Actually, I think that was his way of asking you to leave, Phil.
All right, so we are going to use we'll use the sleepy symbol.
So is that it? So we've got until morning, until the shadows, to the shadows return.
And the portal
Oh man, how am I going to use my shadow buddy?
Well, that's the thing. Your shadow buddy will still work. You're going to need to find some light source.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
In order to activate him.
Okay, so we've got until the morning. So we've got 2 more questions.
What will happen?
Well,
what will happen when the portal? What will happen to us when the portal opens? You should have had the glowing thumb. That is a very good idea. You could have
who stopped you from having that?
I'm not sure. He said to me left.
Okay, so we've got some ideas for questions. Have you got ideas for? We've got 2 questions left. So, what is it that you would want to ask? That again, help us get a better idea of what's going on and give us some clues as to how we're going to actually deal with this new darker purpose that's been revealed.
How can we delay the threat? Says Phil.
Yes.
See, that's a very big question, but it gives us something to aim for. It gives us a target.
I think it leads to the other question: is how do we stop it? Right. So I think, in whatever order, I think it might be what can we do to stop this from happening?
We're not going to attack anybody yet.
And then, how can we delay it?
All right. So which one do you want to go for first?
Well, how can we delay it might lead into what we can do.
Okay.
Maybe start with that.
All right. How can we delay it? All right. So these are our
We're gradually running out of
symbols. Well, that always happens, though, because we end up putting them on the board. So here are our symbols. How can we delay it is the question. So we have the apple, the pyramid, the hand doing a high five or a stop motion. We have the lightning bolt. We have the lock. And we have, again, the sleepy face.
Thematically.
Something's jumped into your mind, hasn't it? Has it got to do with my key?
Yeah.
All right.
So, right, before we do that. Yes. Where is it? Flashback.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, I'm trying to remember the name. So the High Priest Friederson, who...
Fred for short.
Who had left the key, had actually hidden it. Because he'd seen something in you. Because he's been coming into the tavern for years. And so he had the key and he was planning. He knew the clock was ticking. And he was planning to close the portal with this key. But it's broken. So it's not fully working properly. And he was basically taken by the substantial before he had a chance to do it. So this is like, he's been studying this for years and knew this was coming because there's like an alignment happening.
There is there's one setting for this ornate key that will, well, most of them just sort of like unlock a normal door. This one will actually do a more sort of like metaphysical locking, I suppose. Okay. This is actually turning out really cool. So,
okay, so
filled with ideas.
So the way we delay it is, so that's coming back to the icon that I saw, which was the lock. So the way we delay it is we have to lock the dimension and stop its kind of spread.
Stop its spread.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the minute, so how about we have it that the light that surrounded us and warped us into, you know, in this insubstantial state, it's slowly growing from the top of this tower. And we have a set amount. We can slow it, but it's going to spread across the town, eventually across the country.
So I'm thinking we're going to have to come out of this insubstantial to do what we need to do. Okay. So yes, Phil, you're reading my mind. That's how I was kind of like trying to set up the reason for my character being in the story is at some point I'm going to have to try and fix this key and make it work.
And you have no idea how to do it yet.
No. How could someone make something so small and with such fine mechanisms? I'm not trained for this. I didn't study this. If they'd only accepted me into Guild of Engineers.
If only I could have read all of the books,
Yes.
but no.
Okay, so that was our
second question. We have one more. We don't have to ask it, but if you guys have some good ideas, we will happily throw the cubes and see what comes up. But I think we have some good information so far. We know what we need to do.
Well, we can ask about how do we find the portal? Who knows the location of the lock?
That sounds good.
How about that? Who knows the location of the lock? Because I think it gets us to bring in a new character into the story. Yeah, you didn't think of that one, Phil, did you?
All right. So who knows the location of the lock? All right. Here are your symbols for inspiration. And I should hold them up so we can actually see what's going on. So we have the pyramid, the smiley face, parachutist, the house/building, an arrow, which is now pointing down, and the die or dice, because we're modern people and that's what we're going to call a single dice.
Get another. Sorry. This is when I get into this. I totally get into it.
So the question that we're looking for the answer to is, once again,
who knows the location of the lock?
Okay. So while the audience comes up with some concepts, do you want to pitch your one to them? See if they
my
like
one
it?
is the parachutist. So it's actually a time traveler, or someone who basically, in that steampunky way,
An outsider.
yes,
Okay.
who travels between dimensions. So they're kind of like this person who has been traveling. They know like in our Steamlandia world, which we think this is all we have. They've traveled between multiple dimensions. They're aware of this insubstantial among many other races and dimensions that exist.
So they sort of like essentially parachuted in to this dimension. So they've like popped into existence. And we are going to need to find them.
So I'm trying to link in, Phil's idea of the World War II paratrooper. So is it someone who got caught in, maybe not World War II, but like an explosion or some experimental thing that went off that catapulted them across different dimensions? That weird kind of like...
in that sort of sliders stroke quantum leap kind of thing. Okay, so it is... so we should give him a name, I suppose.
Queenium what?
I'm thinking might try to write quantum leap and then ended up writing Quanium Leo. All right, so how about... So again, you should give him details. You should... this
private,
this famous but very, very sort of like secluded character. So we know this, but we know of this person. I think he should have like a very sort of like normal 2017 name, but he has sort of like
2017 or like 19.
Oh, we go for World War II. Okay, so a very sort of like a very normal 1940s name, and he has been gifted this ability, but he keeps himself to himself. Tom, okay, I want a surname. Tom Charles Jacobs. So he is our paratrooper guy who has the ability to A, leap through dimensions, but B, he can give us information. He can tell us what we need to do. Thomas Charles.
He's
Jacobs.
a time traveler, or he's not a time traveler. He's like
he's a dimension jumper.
Dimension jumper, yeah.
And for some inexplicable reason, he decided that he would stay, or at least make home. We're not calling him Sam Beckett, Mike. We've all seen the show. We know what we're doing. Both of you, Mike and Phil, naughty boys.
So this might be the thing that gets me into the Guild of Engineers. Maybe he's got a piece of like experimental equipment that what country? I'm gonna say the Japanese developed. Oh no, hang on. Yeah, it could be. So he stole this piece of equipment from the Japanese,
Mm-hmm.
and it's whilst the Americans were developing like the atom bomb and stuff, the Japanese were developing this dimension jumping device.
So it's like all of you stop saying Sam Beckett. So it's essentially like the Japanese version of the Manhattan Project,
yes.
but they were doing like dimension portal technology stuff.
So he's been traveling for ages and
Trying to find that last leap home.
yes, and he's encountered the substantial.
Okay. In different dimensions, many different dimensions. Yes. Everywhere he goes, they are there. Mm-hmm. All right.
So now he's living in Steamlandia.
Hoping that his next leap will be the leap home. Called the J-Ump. What?
And maybe it's lost power or something. He hasn't got the power source here.
Mm-hmm. So he needs a power source to get home, but he also has information about these people. Maybe we could come to some sort of detente, some kind of deal.
I feel something brewing.
Something's gonna happen. All right, so we have knocked out the second scene. It's time for us to move on to...
So I gotta say, this is the moment where it starts to accelerate really fast. Okay, so let's see what's gonna happen.
On as the confrontation.
So,
okay,
so the way we read this card is we travel to this new location where we encounter either like an existing threat, and so the colors here indicate previous locations that we can move a cube from. So it could be whether we encountered.
So we could the portal could move to this threat. It could become
or we can introduce a new one as well. So it's where the portal becomes a threat, or something to do with the portal, and it is pursuing us.
So I kind of like the idea of bringing in a new threat.
Yeah.
I mean, because the portal is sort of like stuck in back as this ever-present thing that we now need to deal with. But this twist in the story, this extra element, will throw another bit of difficulty into our path.
Maybe it's like whilst we're searching for the location for the portal, we arrive at this location.
I'm sure I get the right ones. Lock again. All right, your symbols for this are as follows. I'll get this camera right one time. So we have the lock, the keyhole rather, the planet, a pyramid again, a clock. We are in Steamlandia, of course. The arrow and the magnifying glass. The timekeepers are following you, says Mike Best. It's like a race of.
So, Mike, tell us a bit more about the timekeepers.
Give us some information.
Can't just throw that out there.
Yeah, man, come on. Need to do some work. It's late here. So.
Okay, so let me see. A new location and a new threat. So if that's the timekeepers.
Okay. So the timekeepers have followed the paratrooper.
So he's like, has he become like an anomaly who's causing these ripples?
We described him as an outsider. He is out of where he should normally be. They followed the paratrooper as they knew he was onto something. Okay. He is after you. Dun, 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 dun. Okay.
So how do we pick a location? So I'm going to try and do something. So if we're going to use that icon, I'm trying to think of like maybe back at your tavern or something, like, and give it a name inspired by one of the icons. Or
okay, I am going to call the tavern. I could just be really boring and just call it the Globe. Which would be ironic because nobody in there ever leaves. It's just, go out and do like big adventures. It's just like, no, No, just stay here forever, drinking terrible watered down mead.
What about the Broken Globe?
Broken Globe. Yeah. Okay, the Broken Globe it is. I'm having
So
it.
is that the name of your tavern, or is it a different one?
No, it's the tavern I work in.
Yeah, okay.
Unfortunately, I am destined to work there for the rest of my life. Unless I can get out of it in some way. Maybe through the power of adventure, where I will find glory, which is my constant aim.
So isn't it kind of ironic that adventure has brought you back to the place where you work?
So I walk in the front door and it's like, why are we here?
Shattered load. Now, that kind of has weird connotations. Okay, so narratively speaking, we were in the Underverse in the Union Pillar, so I'm guessing we had to drop the map, let go of the map, to escape the Underverse, and now we've gone to the tavern.
So, dropping the map rematerializes us. And as
we go to find the guy who hangs out.
Remember the staircase had collapsed behind us? So dropping the map teleports us back to where we began, back to where we began our days. And as I work in the pub, as I work in the tavern, I am there. And as you know that I work in the tavern, you run to there and you meet me there. Okay. I'll earn my few pennies for the day. Get the dishes sorted out.
So maybe the paratrooper spends a lot of time here.
Yeah, drinking his sorrows away. Yes. Okay. So we still need the
timekeepers.
So the timekeepers are going to go for the clock. Everybody cool with that one? I will sort that out.
If you just stay fast enough and stick it up, then they won't complain.
That's true. You can't stop us.
Too late.
You're not here. We're here. You can't stop us. All right. Do you know what? Considering that you were worried that these cubes were going to be falling off the wall, they're holding up very, very well. Don't speak. This isn't a no doubt song. All right. So, Rory, if you would care to run through, translate the cube symbols and everything for us into that very, very useful single sentence.
So in order to deal with the new plot twist, we travel through to the Broken Globe, where the timekeepers are now pursuing us.
We have 2 questions and we have 4 actions. So questions first. I suppose, okay, we kind of know why they're pursuing us, but should we clarify that through the power of story cubes?
I want to know how to stop them.
Yeah, 4 cubes.
How can we
get away?
Work. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you want to go for it?
Well, do we want to get away? Because we
okay. How about this for a better question? What will happen if they catch us?
Yes.
That sound cool?
So
because then we can go from there, depending on the results. If we need to get away, then we could ask Mike's question. You aren't fighters. Hey, look, I might not be a fighter yet, but
we're saving it for the show. Then
I got a sharp eye. I've got an amazing looking key, and skills at washing pots that you have never seen before in your life. All right, we have the following symbols. So, what was it? What will happen to us? I can't remember the question.
What will happen to us if they catch?
What will happen if they catch us? All right. So we have 4 symbols. We have the flower. We have the tower. We have the shadow, and we have the arrow.
We can be really simple about it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll kill us so that we're pushing up daisies.
Oh, okay. Locked into a single day in the tower, thus potentially destroying the entire dimension that we live in. The Shadow Master will come after your souls. Maybe the Shadow Master is here to take your shadow. Yeah, it actually Phil's idea of us being locked into the tower for a single day, just ad infinitum in like a horrible, really super dark version of Groundhog Day.
There's a very strong time motif.
There is a little bit. Actually, I don't know. I'm kind of a lover of weird time travel stories, so I'm kind of taken with that. So if they catch us, they will lock us in the tower, and we will be amongst the first.
So what's that called? Which tower are we talking about? Is that the Union Pillar?
The Union Pillar. So yeah. So they will lock us into the Union Pillar, and we will be stuck by a javelin. We will be amongst the first to be subsumed.
Okay.
By the insubstantial's horror. Yeah, Dale is right. Yes. This story is coming along nicely. Good work, sir.
We're keeping it grimdark. Okay, so I'm going to ask, what can we do to evade them?
There you go.
And yes, Mike, we're not fighters. But it might give us a clue for how to fight them. Ooh.
All right. There's that tower again. You can do the holding up?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so what can we do to evade what did we call them? The time... I can write them down, actually. Timekeepers?
Timekeepers, yeah. Hey, I'll grab that. You write down timekeepers, because, keeping notes is super useful. Mike's suggestion is run. Well done.
You've watched too many Doctor Who episodes.
I tell you what you can also do is pick up a copy of the Doctor Who Story World set and have your own Doctor Who adventures. Why not support the campaign Untold on Kickstarter? Thank you very much. We love you. There you go. There's your plug.
So Phil is saying hiding in tower. I want to kind of bring my character and some of my abilities in.
Hide in the tower. They'll never look there. It's just like wait.
And then the episode ended. Yeah. So I'm thinking about gambling. I've been working on this kind of experimental gadgety thing. That again, it's probably a piece of kit that I found. I don't quite know how it works, but if I'm looking at this idea of my ability to choose the right path. I feel that I'm kind of rummaging around in my bag for this old piece of kit that I think might help.
I like the fact that you're choosing the right path. Power has essentially turned into
intuition.
You are the luckiest man on earth. It's just like, I just so happen that I've got this thing. Your gadget might not work too well, though. Yeah. Well, of course, when he uses it for the actions, it entirely depends on what reactions come up. So we're going to use the dice for your answer then for that one. So that's cool. Nice one. That is all
so
good.
I have some gadget.
Some gadget,
to stop the timekeepers.
You think it might be useful. You're kind of essentially doing like a hit and hope on it, seeing if it's
twisting knobs, pushing buttons, and hoping something happens as a result.
So, I'm a lucky bloke. Anything can happen. It'll be great. All right. So now we have up to 4 actions again to try and deal with the scene, to try and deal with the situation. And click, clank, clank. Weird things happen. So what are we going to do? While we try and think up some ideas as well, if you guys can consider some actions that I could do on my own, Rory could do on his own, or both of us can attempt to do together. And
bearing in mind that our paratrooper is here as well.
So we could get involved with this mysterious, what do we call him? Tom Charles Jacobs. Double barrel first name.
And again, thinking about our abilities, we haven't drawn on my shadow to help us just yet. And have you any abilities?
I've used my sharp eye. I use that to try and find the void map. I've used my key to get into the pillar. But of course, it is skeleton key, so it could get me into other places, of course, as well. I mean, I think it might be a good idea to actually try and approach our paratrooper friend to try and find out some information from him.
Well, what really simple thing? Why don't we try and like wake him from his stupor so he can help us?
So, being because I work in the tavern, I work in the Broken Globe. I have full access, AAA access all areas pass, and go wherever I want. So I wander in behind the bar, which is essentially just a big chunk of a log. I go to the water butt, I get the bucket, scoop out a thing of water, and I try to wake up our paratrooper friend by whooshing an entire bucket of not exactly clean water into his face. Approach him as your alter ego and try and find out why he's following you. Maybe in a bit. All right, so I try and wake him up with a bucket of dirty water to the face. Go.
Oh, that's like the worst possible outcome.
Potentially the worst reaction. So it fails miserably, and is he dead? I'm going to kill him. He's drunk himself into a stupor.
So Phil's in, he chokes on
the water. Okay, so all right. So he's not dead, but it was actually boiling dirty water. All right, so I throw the water in his face. It doesn't wake him up, but he does start choking really badly on the dirty water, like a bit of gristle from washing up has gone down his throat.
I know I shouldn't play this again.
No, go for it.
So I'm going to play the and card.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pitch something that, yes, and he starts to choke, and he does die, and disappears. Because I feel like I don't want to lose him out of the story.
Well, see, my idea, because we have timekeepers, I was thinking we could potentially bring him back later down the line.
Well, that's what I'm thinking when he disappears.
Yeah. So he chokes, and he croaks, and then winks out of existence. Yeah?
So we think he's gone.
And we both look at each other and just go,
ooh.
What have we done? So, we have kind of messed this up. We done bad.
And
we have 3 actions remaining.
So who gets really angry?
I get really angry at myself. So do you want to show the... So
this was the expression. So someone, that's what I forgot to say, is when you flip over the card, the reaction faces are really in lieu of a die roll. They're really just there to help drive the story forward by giving you like some reaction that occurs within the story, and we find that's really
it's somebody in that current scene, and with 3 people in this in the scene in the pub, it's either going to be Lorak, it's either going to be Jeff, or it's going to be our paratrooper friend,
or the timekeepers.
All the timekeepers, of course. Yeah. So
maybe it's them.
The time? No. It is you, and you are utterly furious at me. You're like, why didn't you just shake him? Kind of thing. And it's like,
okay,
all right. So you are now spectacularly angry at this idiot pot boy.
I'm shaking with anger, and I'm trying to fidget with this device that I don't kind of quite know that works. To me, it is like a cube, and it's got like clockwork dials.
It's like a fidget cube, yeah,
kind of.
Here on Kickstarter,
the Steamlandia fidget cube.
That's it. It's on Steamstarter.
So it's like I'm pulling things and twisting things to try and get it into the right combination to power it up.
Okay.
That's what I feel. It's like I'm pulling things and twisting things, and I know when it triggers. You
have you just have this understanding. You're a tinkerer. Yeah. It's what you know best. Okay.
So I'm frantically trying to adjust, and I'm fine tuning. So that's the tinkering. Is like I'm tightening things and loosening springs to get this thing to work. to try and get this device to work in the hope of stopping the timekeepers.
Okay, so your action is successful.
Oh, so it works.
But there's a consequence. A negative one at that. The board come out. Phil, you're a bad man.
Okay, so what do so succeed? So I wanted to stop them. So
we actually have a cool suggestion there. Dale says it works, but your shadow. So it works, and like light pours out of it, making your shadow appear. But then your shadow sort of like and knocks the cube from your hands.
Maybe it intentionally does it.
The shadow was
so it like swats it from my hand. But I think the first thing that happens, I think, is like there's that kind of flash and ripple, and the timekeepers, are they frozen or do they get dispelled? I
would say they don't get. They're still there. They're not frozen, but they sort of like rear back from it, like they.
Okay.
They have a sort of like a negative reaction to it.
Okay, so they're afraid of it.
Yeah, they have just a fear. Okay.
So maybe it isn't. Does it flare? It starts to flare, and it's like it's starting to work, but it hasn't actually gone off yet.
It's gearing
winding
up. It's going right.
Yeah, it's got like a lever, a wind up.
Things are so they go, bloody work.
Ooh, the shadows are substantial. I'm gonna leave that for now and see. But so the thing starts powering up. The guys are like panicked, but my shadow with this expression isn't really happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it I don't know why, but it knocks the device from my hand.
It swipes its hand and the device goes off. But it
skitters across the floor.
Has the device got enough momentum to still go on?
So it's still going, and it's skittered across the floor into a corner of the bar.
Okay. So it's like an old car with the crank,
still going.
The crank start, and it's just like you gave it enough juice.
And so, like the look of the timekeepers is just like following this thing, and they're all like diving for it.
Sure, I just want to point out. Obviously, we've had like viewers who've been with us for like nearly 2 hours now. Yes. You crazy people. But there are people who are jumping into this like an hour and a half, 2 hours in, and I can only apologize that you've come into the weirdest thing on Kickstarter Live at the minute. But hey, enjoy it for the rest of the ride. It's going really cool.
This is like a quick summary. So, okay, so this device is skittering across the floor. I'm looking at my shadow companion, who's completely betrayed me, because it's like the darker side of me. We've one action left.
We do.
One action left. What are we going to do?
Any suggestions from there? It's going really well. Easy to drop in after missing an hour or so, says Dale. Bless you, Dale. Thank you. Another thumbs up. Yeah. Hey, mash that button. Yeah. All right. We have one more action. I think we need to do something about your shadow.
Yes.
Your shadow has form. It has matter. All right,
but it needs a light to function.
So, okay, here we go. Using my sharp eye ability to try and aim the bucket that I still have in my hand, I attempt to throw it across the tavern, so it will land covering the device. Okay.
I thought you were like trying to hit
it. However, as it needs light to do its thing, as it needs light to survive, I'm going to cover up the major significant light source, which is your device. I'm at least going to try to. So I hurl the thing through the air, and
Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
But something interesting, curious,
but
odd.
something curious and strange happens. So, okay, how about this? So, the bucket flies through the air. It lands near, but fails to cover the device. The timekeepers give us a reset. They wind time back ever so slightly.
Okay.
Do I really want them to do that? Because I mean, whatever happens, it's destined to not hit it. Let's think. Come on, crowd, you can help. You can do this.
Think it doesn't cover it, but it slides and like hits something on it.
Oh, okay. No. Okay, so it doesn't completely cover it, but it lands in such a way that it partially obscures just enough light to take an element of physicality off of your shadow.
So it kind of falls in such a way where it blocks
a bit of the light. It blocks. It just removes just that little bit of power from your shadow, and that's what causes your shadow's face to now go go curious face. Okay. We have the room. So like it covers his feet and he stumbles. The shadow stumbles up a bit. It's just like I had feet and now I don't, kind of thing.
Okay, so he's just become more insubstantial. So basically, the way I would describe it is the way the thing fell is I'm now in shadow. So therefore, like the part of the room I'm in is in shadow. So therefore, he's kind of dematerialized because there's no light for him.
Or there's a little light. You know, just a little sort of like background light to keep him.
There's like baby Groot
there, yeah. But it's kind of halfway between human and like the insubstantial form.
Okay.
So it's this sort of mid-range thing.
Okay.
Backlit. There you go. That's the word we were looking for. This is why you guys are along for the ride. You're here to help us with proper words like
grammar,
compass roses and backlit.
Okay.
All right, so that's the end of the 13th.
So now the revelation is when like a major secret is revealed. And it's a secret belonging to the timekeepers.
All right, so we have 4 cubes remaining. Rory will show you
that. Oh yeah, so let's do this. So what this means is that the timekeepers were actually targeting a different location all along. Okay. So it's something to do with a place.
So if we look on the main board, we could, if we wanted to.
Sorry, and you can see there's 2 colors here. So it indicates we can either choose a new location, or we can draw from 2 previous tile locations that use these colors, which are this location and this location.
So that would either be the pillar filled with information and books, or the broken globe, or we can go for something new. So I will roll and not drop all of them. All right. I should turn that around. There we go. Okay. So these are our symbols. So again, we have the magnifying glass, we have the tower, we have the theatre mask, and we have the alien face. Or we can choose one of the previous locations.
Because we can also, I dropped on the floor, play a wild card if you want, which means once during the game, a player can play a wild card, which allows them to basically turn a die to any side. So whether you think that's helpful as well, I just want to name that as well.
So, I mean, you could do that. You know these cubes inside out. Is there a symbol that you think would be fun to switch things to?
I'm trying to think thematically what we want. So this is where if you have an idea of the story going a certain direction, that you can steer it this way. So actually, I wonder if no, it's on another cube. What is it? So what if we choose this one.
Okay.
And it's like a crossroads, or there's some location here in Steamlandia that's like the crux or the kind of crossroads to all the dimensions.
Oh, what could you call it? Let's have a think. Just call it the crux. Just call it the crux.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So the crux is a location here in Steamlandia.
All right. Let me get the sticky stuff and get it sorted. So
maybe it's
a legendary place.
Yes. Okay.
We don't know where
it is.
It may not exist, but the intersection crux is Phil.
And maybe it's a place where all the inhabitants, legend speaks of the crux, which is where the inhabitants of Steamlandia came from.
Ah, okay.
So like in Ireland, we would have the story of how the Gaels came across the sea and settled in Ireland. So maybe in Steamlandia, there's the story of how people came through this magical portal. Yeah, very good, Phil. The Horcrux.
Family friendly. All right. So
No, I mean
no Harry Potter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cool. So again, as we've got information on a new location, Rory is fervently scribbling it down on the adventure journal because it's good to have all this information. Now, this may be a thing that exists. It may just be a legend. We don't know yet. We will find out. But for this scene, we have one single question to ask.
It's got to be a why.
It has to be a why.
Anyone got a question they want to ask at this point? So we've only got one question before we head into the final showdown. So what is it we need to know about this revelation that the Timekeepers were actually targeting the crux all along?
I think, an idea. Why is the crux so important? That is basically it. It's like, why are they targeting? What is this? Yeah. What is this going to do? So you have a couple of people saying, like Dale says, Phil says, why is the crux so important? Why are they targeting the crux? So
I think you get the same answer.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. So we have 3 cubes remaining. All right. A symbol has come up that I immediately thought. Let me just turn that around. Hey, guess which one immediately struck into my mind?
So why are the Timekeepers targeting the crux? And why? And I'm trying to figure out how can we tie it all into one question. So why are they targeting the crux?
So Phil thinks justice.
So what is it about justice?
What sort of justice? Rainbows. That's it. By doing that, everybody will get lovely rainbows in this grim, dark steampunk future.
They want to, oust the leprechauns of having monopoly on rainbows.
Actually, Dale's got a good one there. The crux forced the light of the universe to shatter, landing the world into pure darkness. So that would be from the rainbow thing. So the diffusion of light. Mike's response is, wow. To which I'm kind of thinking. So the Timekeepers, Phil suggests the Timekeepers want to return Thomas back to his own time.
So the crux to me is like a starting point for, it's a meeting point and starting point for journeys. So they could actually send him back. But the thing is, he's gone, he's disappeared. So, but that might have been why they were targeting it. Maybe they're trying to do like a reset. If I'm trying, because I think what Dale is saying is great. So Tom is waiting at the crux.
So he's there. His body has appeared at the crux. Sort of like in stasis almost. He's this weird interdimensional.
My view was that he wasn't dead because I want him to come back into the story. He just disappeared.
He was an ex-paratrooper. He's just sleeping.
So we're losing all the ugly stuff. So the crux forces the light of the universe to shatter, allowing the world in darkness. So, I mean, maybe it's just they want to shut it down to stop all this time hopping. Like as long as the crux is open.
Yeah, if the crux is open, people will continue to sort of like leap between dimensions, and they want to stop that.
Yeah, so it's kind of what Dave's saying. It's become a time shard that needs to be contained, or it will unravel the universe.
Okay, so are we going to go for? I mean, that sort of to me reads that sort of it's almost like the justice of the universe. You know, things will be set right again. Everything will be okay once they manage to shut down.
They had a key to close it.
I know, that'd be useful, wouldn't it? All right, so we're going to use the scales to sort of like do that as our answer. Okay, so sounds good to me.
Cool. Okay.
All right.
Wait, so we're heading into the final showdown. Let's see. Okay.
All right.
I can imagine someone looking at this game going, so what? It's like a pinboard thing? Okay. So in the final showdown, we travel to either a new location or back to our first location because the colors align, where we face off against two threats that are both have captured us.
So they have come together and they have captured us.
Okay.
So,
and again, the colors within here indicate various locations on the previous tiles that we can bring forward. And so
threats on the previous tiles.
Sorry.
Locations at the top, threats in the middle. Or again, you can use these.
Yes.
Now you get no questions, so you can actually use the full 9 story cubes and the whole thing. This is just actions, so we'll be using the reactions deck, and that is it. So what are we going to do? Do you want a brand new location where Jeff and Lorak are being held, or
so we can actually
go back somewhere else?
Because this references a location, we can actually move that there. So we could go to the crux.
Should we go to the crux? I think we should go to the crux. I think the entire crowd will say yes. We should go to the crux.
Let's go to the crux.
Now,
let's hope it works without destroying. No, I think we're going to have to take this one off and put a new one on.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Do that? Okay, so let's think about the other things. Bring the crux to me. So we've also got 2 threats that we're facing against.
John has returned. Hi, John. You thought you were gone to bed.
So we've got. I kind of feel like we should bring the.
So we often suggest when people are trying this out to bring one earlier threat back and bring a new threat in, because then you're sort of like working with something that you've already dealt with previously.
They're all saying the insubstantial. I think we got to bring in the insubstantial.
All right, I will sort that out.
And I think John wants us to bring in dinner. Okay, so we got the insubstantial.
Do you want to roll those to get a new threat?
Okay. There could be something like coming out of the crux.
Is it dinner? I had dinner like 8 hours ago.
Okay.
All right, so we are at the crux. We have the insubstantial who have captured us.
So we've got the scales, we've got the pyramid, we've got a tortoise. We also have a wild card because technically Michael has not played his wild card yet, so we could change this to a side that we want. So I love the idea of not maybe giant tortoises, but some other reptilian, like some other
dragonkin kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, when I see the turtle, I see its shell. Shell reads protection. Protection reads guard. So, like, we've been captured by an elite guard, this group of elite guards. Ninjas, no.
Mike, I think it's your bedtime.
So yeah, it's so late. So yeah, I don't know, maybe sort of like this like a secret elite guard known only to the highest of the high kind of thing, but they're working with.
Okay.
No. Mercenary guards.
I've got something.
All right,
I'm going to throw it. It's kind of a bit of a twist, and it might be a better icon. But the engineers, because it's something they need to shut down and control. So the crux is maybe part device, part location.
All right, so we could. I mean, so a set of scales is essentially it's a device. It's a device that's built. It can work as engineers. Engineers don't build trees. You could use the mobile. You could use the mobile phone, like the cell phone, because it is a piece of technology. Technology represents the engineers. Let's do that. So I play my wild card. There you go. And this will now be. No, dude, it's a good idea. And what the object of Untold is to make a good story. And
they're saying to me like,
this is what we want.
Lorak, you will never become an engineer because look at the mess that you've created. And we're here to stop you.
To which...
Like, but you don't understand.
To which we both say, whatever. We're going to sort it. All right, so we'll stick that there.
Yeah, no, Mike, I'm not going with the ninjas. Sorry.
Your family's going to be very confused when we come down in the morning and see all these stuck to the door. All right.
Okay, so
the all action finale. Read it round. Let's go for it.
So we raced to the crux where we were captured by the insubstantial and the
Guild of Engineers. Okay, who are working together.
So let's say they've kind of cornered us rather than captured us, so there's still room for us to kind of act. Yeah,
because I mean, if you start this sort of like if you start this thing as like you're captured, most people immediately go to, oh, you're in a cage. But it's just like, no, you can be you could be stuck in a corner, you can be locked in a room, you can be it's however you want to interpret it to make the story what you want it to be. Okay, so actually that's interesting. So Phil says, are we piggy in the middle? Are they working together to capture us, or are they just sort of like both in the same place?
So I would read it as they're both after us.
Okay.
So they're both trying to capture us.
Okay, cool. That works. So now we have 6 actions to come to a resolution, not only for the scene, but for this whole story.
So what do we got to do? We got to deal with the insubstantial who are trying to open the portal that's going to take over the world. And we've got the key.
I think I'm going to need to start messing around with that key. Or I tell you, okay, right. I want to give you my key so you can try and find
intuitively
the right setting for it. Okay, so
so you try to evade capture, maybe.
Yeah, so I try to run away from the people, and in running, I try to sort of like hand off the key to you as I pass you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So this is like good.
Yeah, glowing success.
All right. So I run past and swiftly drop the key into your waiting hands like this. And suggestions from the crowd? No. So Mike says he drops it. It's a positive thing. He definitely has it because it's a big sort of like ridiculous smiley face. So I'm going to go. This is my face because I've done it spectacularly well, managing to get it into his hands. So I get it over. So I get it into Lorek's hands, and I Okay, so I managed to escape or confuse them, says Dale. I don't really want to escape because I want to be, you know, I want to be in the scene. I want to be in the action. But I like the idea of confusing them.
Well, so I'm going to suggest, even though this is a positive thing, I'm going to use it as a positive, is it's the engineers who are laughing at me.
Okay,
because
that's cool.
They're they're kind of distracted because
it's just, what do you mean, him? That thing? Yeah. He's not able to do stuff.
So they've known about this key for quite a long time.
Okay, cool. That works.
And no one's ever been able to get it to work.
Yeah. So they're laughing at you because a lowly tinkerer would never have the ability to. Yeah.
So the positive is that they actually stop in their.
They stop instead of what is it? Slowly, imposingly moving towards us.
They're like, go on then. Show us what you can do.
Cool. All right.
So
1 down, 5 to go.
Let me see. So I'm trying to just get the feel for the scene so that we all have the picture of what's going on. So we've got this thing, the crux. Is it like an old stone or something, or like a big tall thing that looks like it might have a key? Okay.
Go on.
So what I'm picturing is that the crux is kind of almost like a way marker. You know, it's a big tall, maybe 8 or 9 foot tall.
Like a standing stone kind of thing. Okay.
And it's standing stone, but it's got like cogs and, you know, metal parts embedded into it.
Like that Antikythera device. There you go.
Okay.
Knobs and wheels.
Yes. So this is my intuition, is that even though this thing looks like a key that you would insert somewhere, exactly like click, clank, clink, I actually look at it and kind of turn the shape around and actually place the physical key flat against part of the surface. So it's not a key that you
rather than inserting, you lay it upon the.
So it's kind of like a trick.
Okay.
Piece of machinery.
Okay, so
and I try to place it on the crux to close it.
See what happens.
To see what happens.
Yeah, because you don't know what's going to happen.
But it'll be the right path.
It looks right, and it feels right in
your
heart.
I should do this.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
Family friendly.
Yes. So, excuse my language. So I place it, and so I fail. So I try to place it. So what happens is, so it doesn't work. So I'm thinking someone stops me from doing it, and is really angry that I tried to do it this way. So
maybe this is the right thing to do, but they have. So you reach out to put the key in place, but the engineers or an invisible hand sort of like stops you.
Like again, someone's like swatting stuff out of my hand.
So Phil's got a good sense. So the engineers realized that it would work, and sort of like the insubstantial like reach out and grab your hand to stop you from placing it onto the thing.
So maybe they swarm me. Right, so they're kind of like.
So at the minute, you're just sort of like, it looks like you're just flat on the ground and you cannot move, and you're just sort of like muffled screams are coming from this invisible pile. This invisible pile of beings on top of you. Okay, so that happened.
And the engineers are fuming that they didn't even think of this. Okay, so they actually want to kill me. Because they're like, they see me as the focus of their art.
Okay.
So 4 actions left.
Remain.
So
okay,
so throw it at you guys. What action can we take?
I mean, so we're going to need to do something to help our dear dog-piled Lorak, who is currently stuck under a giant pile of I don't want to say humanity. They're not humans. They are
Insubstantial.
insubstantial. So how am I, you guys need to give me an action. How am I going to get him from underneath?
So am I still holding the key in my hand, or has it been taken from me? Because I was going to say I'm still maybe holding it.
I think you still got it. It's just like you're underneath like a pile of bodies.
So maybe like my hand is the bit that's not covered.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're grabbing for it. The engineers are going for it.
So Dale's suggestion is I start swinging the pot. So I still have my pot with me. I got my bucket, my trusty bucket. Maybe that's the best way. Maybe I'm gonna have to brute force this and violence it out. So I try to get the insubstantial off you.
You could look around to see if there's other stuff.
I do have a sharp eye, it must be said. So
did everyone come empty-handed?
I mean, okay, so I do want fame and glory. It's something that I am going to strive for. So I want to do this properly.
Yeah.
So I use my sharp eye to look around for a more substantial weapon than my washing up bucket.
So I tried to spy.
So yeah, I try to find a much better weapon in the local area. Go. Oh, look at that.
You get what you want.
So it just so happens that the engineers, while they were laughing at you, attempting to fiddle about with the key, they were laughing so ribaldry. There was such joy that one of their very nicely engineered swords, beautifully balanced, and the art, the craft on the handle is amazing, fell from their belt loop, from their belt buckle. So I run in, I gun in, I grab it, and I've got scabbard. That's the proper word. I run in, I grab the scabbard with this really rather lovely sword.
So you've never used the sword before? Never
used it before in my life, but I've seen people use it, and I think I know what I'm doing.
Get away!
All right.
Okay.
I think it would be so. Even though you're still under this,
I think you need to take the next section.
No, do you not want to do it? Do you want to try and struggle your way out or something, or should I just go in swords blazing? There is an etching on the sword, apparently, according to Phil.
I want to do something, but it would be so not. It would be kind of grimdark, but it would be kind of.
This is a grimdark universe. You wanted it. You tell us what you want.
Right.
It's all gone very nice. You say "knee" in the chat, by the way.
I'm gonna. I just tried to find something on the insubstantial that I can grab a hold of and just inflict some kind of pain so that they move.
Grab and squeeze.
This was a technique I learned in coping with my older brother whenever we'd get into fights. Just find something and punch it really hard or squeeze it really hard. So I'm just trying to figure out, cause a reaction that will cause them to jump back.
Mm-hmm. That is actually the perfect freaking card for it. You are successful,
yes,
but something embarrassing happens. All right. The floor is yours.
So I
you squeeze.
Well, I do.
Squeeze is such a disgusting sounding word at 2 o'clock in the morning.
But
you squeeze, they erupt. That sounds horrible.
Yeah. So actually, what I was thinking was in a really, cheesy way, is they're actually female insubstantial. So while I'm kind of groping around, I realize that they're female warriors, and there's a bit of me that's kind of a bit prudish as a young, kind of introverted tinkerer who doesn't know how to deal with the female counterparts. And so I start profusely apologizing.
I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry. I'm incredibly sorry.
Whilst
this is horrible.
well, it's that kind of grim, dark awkwardness thing. So some of them enough of them like jump back off me, but I am just like, I jump up and I'm like, I'm so sorry, and drop the key.
So even though it was successful, you've thrown a negative in there. We have...
Well, it was the embarrassment. 2
actions remaining. Okay. I think it's time for me to show my prowess with the blade.
Okay.
All right. So rather than going straight and attacking, I run in front of you and I try to look as competent as possible with this sword in a bid to intimidate the people.
Thank you, Dale.
So in a bid to intimidate not only the engineers but the now really quite embarrassed, insubstantial warriors.
You fail.
I fail to intimidate them, but
maybe
it does buy you enough time to scrabble around on the ground to pick up the key.
Is that my next action?
You have the final action of the game. They start laughing. Yes, so I'm there, never held a sword before, like 2 minutes ago, just trying to look as badass as possible, and I'm holding it by the blade, just swinging it at people, going, yeah, this is how it goes, isn't it? This is how swords work. What button makes
waving
sword
it
work?
up above your head.
Just there shouting, swords! Swords!
Sorry, so John's asking the question, how do we know it failed? And Dale has answered. It might be hard to see on the screen, and this will not be the final form, but we basically have red and green cards that indicate very clear success or very clear failure, but then we have possibly a but and an and with the facial expression as well. So it's kind of like it goes your way, it doesn't go your way, or it goes your way and something even better happens, and something worse happens, or it goes your way, but there's a downside to it as well. So it's really kind of a neat way for bringing in the whole scope of outcomes that you want to have. I kind of want to bring the engineers in. So they're kind of laughing at you.
And why wouldn't they? My prowess is going to be legendary after this.
I feel like I need to make some like epic speech to them. Like, you didn't trust me. Maybe I'll do that afterwards when it all works.
Well, how about you do something like maybe, so they see me acting like, I'm the king of the world, but I'm actually like lord of the idiots. And they sort of like go for, the insubstantial are going nowhere because they just think you're going to grope them again. This has gone ever so slightly comedy. We did say there was going to be sort of like...
But it's that weird awkward moment.
It's the awkwardness going on.
So I think that's gone.
But the engineers are now going to, they see that you have the key again. And like it might be like a final last-ditch attempt. They try and rush you and try and grab it off you, something like that.
So I tried to grab the key before one of the road engineers, who's been like my nemesis for ages, which is Archibald Youngstern.
That guy.
Yeah. You've seen him, and he's the guy who goes into the Broken Globe.
He comes like all the time. He's flashing his groats around. He's the kind of guy that he thinks he's all that. He's the first to buy around just to ingratiate himself with everybody. God, Youngstern.
Alexander? No. So tired.
It is now.
Alexander Youngstern.
Gary Barker. He was my apprentice manager.
Okay, so I dive to try and grab the key before Alexander gets it. Okay, let's see how it goes. I get it.
So you have the key, but
so does he.
Tussle.
And we're tussling over the key, and I'm trying to yank him over towards where the key needs to go into the crux.
All right.
So I'm trying to drag him over, and he is bigger than me.
And that's the final action.
No, we've got one more.
Oh, we have one more.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah. All right. So, I'm going to need to help you.
Okay, so let's do. This is where you can like tie up some actions together. So what if you like leap on Alexander while I try to fit the key?
Mike suggests, do you want fighting advice? Phil suggests you throw the sword.
So are you cracked out for adventuring?
Are
you willing to kill for it?
I feel it's in my blood. I need to do this. So I try to rush you guys. I try to rush Alexander as you two are fighting with each other with the over the key.
Well, we're going to go one hand free because like we're kicking and trying to yank closer.
And I run in and I swipe down with the sword, eyes closed, hit and hope.
Oh my god!
And we see what happens.
So we got to tie it though because we want it so that releasing me to
hopefully releasing you
to insert the key in.
To get the key in position.
Okay.
All right. This is good. Lex says, oh crap. We all know how good I am with the sword, but you never know. This might be my time.
I hope it's only a fingernail that I lose. And what was Dale's suggestion?
Dale's suggestion was lop off Alexander's hand and bat it towards the crux. That if it's going to be if it comes up green, that's what's happening. All right.
So are you gonna like? Whoosh.
I'm basically doing this. Bang! Straight down. Hit it.
Okay. Let's see if I survive this episode.
You'll survive. I don't know if you'll have all of your limbs, but you'll survive.
Forget like a terrible outcome.
All right. So, how am I going to make this happen? All right. So,
I think
the sword.
I lose.
The sword swoops down through the air, cutting it like a knife through air, and instead of lopping off Alexander's hand, it lops off Lorac's hand.
Yes. But
it flies through the air. With my sharp eye, I do manage to bat it.
No. Okay, you're going into silliness.
It is a bit ludicrous.
So
all right, so
I'm going to say you do cut off one of my arms.
No, just a hand. Just a hand.
My hand.
Yeah.
But because I'm thinking in the future I can make a mechanical hand.
That's what I was thinking. You can do like a techie thing. You
cut off my hand, but in the horror, Alexander, like there's blood squirting, so he kind of like, let's go.
So yeah, this is Alexander's face. He is in absolute the sight of blood, it's something that I can never handle and never have been able to. And he just bumps straight down. You just about manage to pull it together.
I turn and
slam the key onto the crux.
And there's the sounds of all these inner devices turning and changing. And,
clunk, 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 clunk.
Yeah. And what happens then? So this is where we got to wrap the whole thing up. So it starts clunking, it starts kind of vibrating, and a hum starts emanating from it. There's like the mandatory shockwave.
Yep, it goes like that,
and the substantial disappear.
So yeah, we could up until that point still hear them talking, hear them complaining about you grabbing people, and then
just do that.
And then all of a sudden it's just silence.
Yeah.
And you sort of reach out your one remaining hand to sort of see if they're where they were, and they're not there. They're gone.
So
what about the end? Okay, so we should probably go through each group that are currently there. So
to do
That's
that.
interesting. The insubstantial becomes seen and turn into sand and fall to the ground.
Well, what do you think, Dale? Because if we're doing this as like an ongoing series, I
They
think
could come back again later down the
insubstantial needs to
line.
be a recurring thing. So is it just that if they're made come into the world, then they disappear? They can't actually survive.
Yeah. So Dale says sort of like we could use them again. So yeah, let's have them that they just sort of like again they wink out of existence. So they're gone. Okay. So with that last action, the episode is done, but we have wrap up to do. So we need to say
when we lock the thing, that's when the paratrooper reappears. He falls.
Yeah, so we need to. Yeah, so we'll go through everyone. So we have lots of different characters, and we need to sort of decide what's going to happen to for the end of them. So the insubstantial have disappeared. They have gone to somewhere else. We don't know where.
So just to explain this, we've actually got on the back of our adventure journal, we have how has the world changed as a result of this episode and what loose ends where they're in this episode. So these are things we can carry forward into future episodes if we want. So we're going to make a note. As Michael's talking, I'm going to make notes on this for the future.
Good stuff. So let's start with the insubstantial. The insubstantial have disappeared from our plane of existence, and we don't know where they are. We know a bit more about them. We know that they are female warriors, and that is about it. But hey, that could be useful information that might become relevant later in an episode in this same season.
So as a loose end, are they still trying to open that portal?
Yes, they are still. They're always going to. This is sort of like their prime directive. They're always looking to take down the material world so they can exist as as substantial as opposed to insubstantial.
Okay.
So we also have the engineers. So a loose end for the engineers is we don't know why they chose to side with the insubstantials.
So that's a loose end. I don't think I'm ever going to get accepted. Unless they're a rogue group.
There might be a thing. So how has the world changed as a result of this episode for the engineers? They might have a sort of like a grudging respect for you now because you are the only person who has managed to sort out that key thing. So that could be an interesting story to continue into the later into the series. Folks who are watching, do you guys have any suggestions of sort of like the loose ends that we have? Like the paratrooper, for example, what can we do with him? He's winked back into existence. He's not dead. He's just asleep. So Phil says you don't need to be accepted by the engineers, Rory. You can do it single-handed. Literally.
No way.
The engineers, says Dale, have tipped their hand about their designs for the world.
The engineers demand. Oh yes.
So maybe the engineers are looking for a world domination thing themselves. You don't know. John has asked a question: what are loose ends for further episodes? So yeah, basically, if there's things that you haven't wrapped up in an episode, you can take these same characters again, and you'll see. Obviously, these are the prototype hero sheets. You'll see here that it has the episodes played line. Obviously, we just played the first episode, so we will mark that the first episode is done. We can bring these characters back again and again and again in the same series. So
the characters actually grow because they can gain new abilities up until the point where if the characters appear 7 times in an episode, you eventually retire them and they become kind of constants within that world and take on like a legendary role or responsibility. And this kind of comes from us wanting to use the episode or episodic storytelling kind of motif. And what we quickly found doing this was that the idea of episodes and series really struck a chord, and especially with people who don't have experience with role-playing games. And so the idea of creating loose threads and cliffhangers that carry over into different, new games is really attractive as people watch their characters grow and the stories expand as well.
So things are not just one and done in the world of Untold. They'll come back again. Over the course of a series, you might have this group of enemies, or you might have this nemesis that's just constantly sort of like trying to screw things up for you, as trying to all
insubstantial.
Yeah, the insubstantial are going to be our nemesis. These are going to be, if we were in Star Trek, these would be our Borg. If we are in Game of Thrones, these are the Carl people.
I haven't been watching it.
You should probably watch it, and I should try and go back to it. But yeah, basically, these will be these could be like our major antagonists. These could be like our major nemesis in the entire thing.
So I think, kind of guessing some people are heading on. So what we'll do off camera is essentially we'll figure out, the shadows. My shadow is a loose thread. Like, why did it turn? And what does it know? So there's lots of things that we can note down, and we've got the characters, the objects, so they all provide source material for future episodes.
So that's all cool. So yeah, we should probably wrap it up then. That's all good.
So
Thank you. That's it.
Game of Untold. It took a little bit longer, but that was mainly because of the player interaction and introducing some of the concepts. But the game, you can see how the pace quickly picks up once we hit the confrontation. Hope you had a good time, and I hope that we fulfilled the tone, which was to keep it kind of grimdark. And so, yeah, guys, if you have any questions playing it yourselves, we'd love to hear from you. Please do go, download the print and play prototype. You've seen how it works, and just go on an adventure.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for watching. And yeah, if you have any questions, that's what the comments are for. We would love to hear from you. And yeah, we might do another one, maybe not so late before the end of the campaign. But yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, you guys have been awesome. Thank you for your assistance in helping us defeat, at least temporarily, the insubstantial and the engineers.
And defeat poor English.